All right, all right, all right. If you know, you know. We are back for another open court discussion live in the Counselor's Corner. I am your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Joining me is the Big Bad Wolf, Herb Lewis.
Oh,
And as always, the panel is a Showtime decision. Recap from this past Monday's show: gender issues. Do we really care? We covered the Me Too movement, child support, and single motherhood, along with other multiple topics. Please go back and watch the replay if
all
this
right, all
subject
right.
matter interests you. Okay, let's move forward to tonight, February 20th, to discuss the topic dating once. Are women delusional? Yeah, I said it. Are women delusional? Or are men stubborn? Because I think it's a little it's both. Both of these things are going on. But here are a couple things that make women delusional. Those irritable moods you guys get in. And I know long days, maybe children, being overworked. Sometimes you may feel underpaid, just not enough time in a day. And then if you're if you're dating someone outside of, your children's father, some of that may come out. Some of that may come out. Also, the overinflated sense of worth. And you see this more so now than ever on social media, like some of the things that's being posted, or a guy got to do this, and I posted something earlier, stay out of my inbox, and all of these different things. But without filters, some of you wouldn't be talking all that good shit without those filters. And so it's sort of like an overinflated sense of worth. And I understand that we're always taught to believe in yourself, think you're the best, but sometimes you have to go to that freezer and then get a few little toppings and have a little humble pie and have a balance with that. So that's some of the things dealing with the delusion. We're going to go way more deeper than that. As far as men being stubborn, sometimes we're just too strong willed, resistance to change. We know stuff ain't working, but we refuse to try something different. Even as far as the dating game, might be, trying different ideas, going different places. We kind of get set in our ways and refuse to change. And sometimes we love to be argumentative to prove a point, to show, yeah, I'm the man. I'm going to get this point across to you. So a lot of that plays into our stubbornness. All right. So now let's shift our focus to segment two. How does the no contact rule affect women? Meaning after breakup. After we break up, a lot of times in relationships, you'll say, don't contact me. I'm deleting you off of social media. There's nothing for us to talk about. Come get your shit, or I'm gonna go get all my stuff from your house. Then the no contact rule. But it really has an effect on both parties, both genders. But we're going to speak on how it affects women. And one of the things is women have emotions that run strong, of course, may hold a grudge. Yeah, y'all can agree. And even during that time, you know that you may miss your ex, but we got much more to speak on as far as that. Lots more. All right. I just wanted to pique your interest for now. Okay, people, don't forget to please like and share our video. Tell a friend, bring a friend to the Counselor's Corner, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. We are 9 subs away from 600. That's another milestone. So if you're on here now and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, if you don't have a YouTube channel, get your YouTube channel. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and it's a wealth of knowledge. When you're sitting there strolling through your TV sometime, and you're like, "It ain't shit on TV," but I'm paying this high cable bill. If you got internet and you got YouTube and you're subscribed and you got a YouTube account, you can watch whatever you want. Old movies, listen to music, watch videos, documentaries, everything. So that would be the point of that. Even if you're a little older and you're like, I don't know how to do that, it's simple. Just go in there and uh, go on, sign into a YouTube account, put your password, username in, and then you'll be able to kind of surf through there. It's probably it's the most actually used platform there is out of everything, YouTube. So get in tune with that. All right. So let's go, people. Time is not forever, everyone. Um, that's pretty much it. So here you have it. We're here another Monday night, and we're not competing with Monday night football, just college
Yeah.
basketball. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. So what's going on with you, Herb? What's happening
Ah,
since last week?
just the usual grind, man. I'm starting to work on the outline of the book, and for those of you who longtime listeners of the show, I've been talking about the 100 questions in conjunction. I've amassed about 240 some odd questions, and I started working on the outline, got the first few pages written, and I'm trying to set it up so that when I do release the book, that all of the questions that anyone might have will be answered in the writing that I'm accompanying the questions with. Because in the midst of writing this, I realized that some of the questions that I was assembling aren't going to have any rhyme or reason to why they're being asked. So, in the midst of writing this, I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to do some explanation as to why, you want to ask certain questions and what you're looking for. So that's going to be contained in the literature. Also, in the coming weeks, with David's permission, of course, I'm going to be bringing some of those questions to the platform, potentially for discussion. And so also you can see how the question and answer portion of this might work. So stay tuned for that, upcoming in the next few months.
Well, you already know the answer. You don't need my permission. You know how we do. You just throw it out there. Tell me this is what we're gonna do, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna do research on my end, and then you're gonna give your part. So it's like clockwork. It's like
Indeed.
clockwork. So yeah, for me, it was great to have today off. And of course, I'm
Sorry,
like,
holiday.
excuse my language. I'm like, how the fuck do a 3 day weekend go faster than a 2 day weekend? But here you have it. Back to the grind tomorrow, and boy, oh boy, I tell you, I need. I got so many different things that's popping through my head, but I really need to sit down and start. At one point, I did, and I probably should have did it during the pandemic when we were off that about year, and should have wrote Middle School Madness because if you got children that age, they off the hook. They're wild, and I talk about this all the time. But some of the stuff it just blows me that they say. And again, I give them kind of the leeway to kind of express themselves, where other people like my other counselors in my department. And remember, I'm the head of the department, so they really don't say too much. That's other than when the girls or whoever, mainly the girls, when they come out there, they be like, "Oh my god! Like, how do you listen to all of that all for that time being?" And the cussing and the carrying on is just it's just wild, like the stuff that they say. But that's why I said I need to put the book Middle School Madness out there, so for future parents of elementary kids to know what they're going to be facing. So it may be like just a scenario based on to get your kids ready for middle school, because whether you know it or not, middle school could be make or break even at that young age on how your child's going to turn out. uh, and it's sad to say that, but it's real, unfortunately. So that's pretty much been going on with me. This past weekend, All Star Weekend, but that was well. Other than the three, I guess the slam dunk was good for that. What's his name? Mac McClung, that won it
Yeah,
all.
Sixer. Oddly enough, a Sixer. Yeah. Oh,
He
he's on
got
a two-way contract. Good
he
for
got
him.
some ups. He got some
Yeah,
ups.
yeah,
So hopefully he can pull out the John Morants and the Zions and the Ant Mans, Anthony Edwards to get in next year, because I don't know how these dudes get a bypass not to be in. But I guess LeBron set that trend of not getting in the slam dunk contest. And before that, the Jordans and the Drexlers and the Kobe's and all that always participated at least, a couple times, if only one time. But that's that. So the game was actually no defense. It was just that was horrible quality of basketball with limited defense. But that was pretty much my weekend in a nutshell.
yeah. I didn't. I tell people before I don't have TV, so I didn't catch any of the All Star Weekend festivities. Actually, for that matter, I didn't catch any of the NFL Pro Bowl weekend. But to that, I think the Pro Bowl actually needs to reach back into what they used to do in the 70s and 80s with the All Star competition. So you had the fastest man challenge. I like what they do with the quarterbacks and the accuracy challenge and things of that nature. So I think um, they need to go back and start looking at some things that used to be done. The only for me as a hardened sports fan, the only All Star game that I will watch is baseball because it's an actual game. You can't simulate 90 plus mile an hour fastballs, breaking balls. You just can't simulate that. So, but to get back what you talked about earlier with writing the middle school madness and having that there for parents whose kids are going to be going into those grades, I think that's an invaluable tool because I think a lot of parents really are unaware of the transition that kids are going to have to make from going to a supervised role to an quasi unsupervised role because at the seventh and eighth grade levels, kids are now they're free to move. Their movements aren't being structured where they're being led from one class to another. You got locks, you got combinations. So your responsibilities as a kid start to expand where you really start to build the foundation up for yourself as a young adult. And for that reason, as well as the others that you've already laid out, that is truly the make or break. I remember, you know, being in the seventh and eighth grade for me, I wasn't in the city of Niagara Falls. I was in a small little hamlet called Alcott. And for me, there was only literally, I kid you not, there was only two people of color in an entire school of about maybe 600 students. So for me, I had to become rock solid in who I was as a young black male. And I always didn't get that support from family members because I was in a foster home at the time. So it was at that particular point in time, even though I got some reinforcement, I learned to be self-sufficient in a lot of ways. I didn't always depend on the environment to hold me together or a family member to hold me together. And some people wonder why a lot of black men, we tend not to rely on certain help aids, if you will, when it comes to working our way through problems. That's because that's the way a lot of us have grown up. Not to say that a lot of black men have been through my situation, but when it comes to black male issues, mainly because we men, that's how we work through them. It's not that we don't trust people. We just know at a certain point in time that as a man, you're gonna have to work through your issues. And always seeking help is not necessarily going to help you if you need to change something intrinsic. So I just wanted to put that out there, which actually kind of leads into what we're talking about tonight with the first talking point.
Yeah. So yeah, and even with the middle school madness, it's not like it won't be like posted up in the school or anything. It'll be something that you know parents can buy at their own leisure, like outside of the school system, because I'm gonna come with some rawness that the school they wouldn't approve of it. I'm not trying to give people fake stuff or sugarcoat anything. I'm trying to get real live situations that happen and discuss those and just see how these up and coming rising elementary students would handle it so they could be better prepared because there's
Mhm.
nothing that really prepares them. I mean, they come to the school for a tour, they have a little orientation maybe in the summertime, but that's, you know, that's only information overload for them. They don't really get the real deal like from day one when school starts, like, oh shit, we here. And now it's, you know, it's a lot going on, and like Herbert said, it's the first time that they transitioning without being in lines or have to go everywhere with the teacher. Now they go everywhere by themselves, and they have a time limit to get there, and a lot of times they don't make the time because they, you know, got to socialize and congregate, which usually leads to trouble. Then they go to class late, and then it's just a bunch of things that go on. But that's that. We always start off with, you know, something to that nature, what's going on in our world. So now we're gonna you know, jump into the subject matter as far as dating once. Are women delusional or are men stubborn? So, Herb, why would you say are women delusional?
As usual, I'm on the clock application, and I'm not going to say what the clock application is. I'll just say it like this: for an old school clock, what sound does it make? So I'm on that app, and something pops up, and I'm saying to myself, we know, at least most men who are out here dating, we know what women want, and consistently we hear the chatter that women and their wants, they misalign with what they can actually get. So they are delusional. And there's some validity to that. But then on the flip side, I asked myself, I said, is it really that they're that delusional? Or are just men just that stubborn? Because I looked to the Black manosphere for this. And now that there's been, a kind of a come to Jesus moment where the parties are back at the bargaining table and women are willing to listen to what men want, because with the upswell of the passport brothers, now you have a segment of black men who just aren't coming back to the table. But the ones that are coming back to the table, they still haven't moved off of what they want. They still want a woman that cooks, cleans, rears the children, works, or whatever the case that these men want. And that's not wrong. But the thing about it is, and this is what women say, and there's a validity to it. Can you support a woman who's doing that? Meaning, if you want her to do all that, are you making at least, depending on your demographic, are you making at least $70,000 a year to support that family? I know 50 has been talked about in a number of different places, and that's always dependent upon where you live as to how much money is going to be needed to support a family of four. So a wife, a husband, and two children. If that's the way the family structure is set up, it could be just mother, father, and two kids, or whatever the case is. But there's some terms that I want to get out here for both sides, so we have a platform from which to work from. The first one is submission. When we hear the term submission, it's always or generally, usually lobby towards women to follow what that man wants. And I'm not here to say what's wrong, what's right. I'm only here to put the terms out there. Then we hear settling. You hear women talking about they're not going to settle for less than what they deserve. Then we hear value, and also the old standby, the double standard. All of those come to play when dating. And I'm going to start with submission. Both parties, whether you're male or female, in some way, shape, or form, should be submitting to the other. You heard me correctly. And I'll tell you why. If you know your husband, let's say you're out at a social function, and you know your husband, when he gets one too many drinks in him, he tends to get a little free with his speech. You, as his wife, should say, honey, I think you may be wise to slow down. Don't tell him, give him the suggestion. Because when you plant that seed, as with any good woman, when she plants a seed, if that soil is fertile enough to take that seed, it's going to grow. I don't want to hear the question about what if. I'm saying if it's good seed. If it isn't, then why are you with somebody planting good seeds in bad soil? That's on you. Choose better soil. No excuse. Especially if you're our age. If he's smart enough, he's going to take your your words and say, you know what? You're right. Last time I did this, something bad happened. Especially if it's a company sponsored function, a Christmas party, whatever the case it is. He's going to take your lead and say, you know what? Yeah, let me put this one down. Let me push away from the bar. Similarly, if you're going out somewhere, maybe to a club, and your man says to you, he says, hey, hon, I don't approve of that because it shows too much of your body. If you respect him enough, you're not going to argue with him. You're going to put on something that's a little less revealing. Why? Because that could potentially put you in the crosshairs to where a man says or does something to you, and you're going to want your man to stick up for you. Part of that submission is protection, but a man can't protect you against your own self. The same way that if he takes one drink too many and he's driving home and y'all get in a car accident because he's drunk, because he didn't listen to you, he put both of your lives in peril. That works the same way. So that's the submission piece. Settling. Here's a news flash for everybody. We all settle. I keep mentioning this movie, and it's for good reason. Up in the air. If you haven't seen it, watch it. We all settle. But when we do, we don't look at it as settling because we got most of what we want. So you think you're winning. It's just like any negotiation. You don't get everything you want. You get the majority of the things you want that you need. So you say, you know what? We won. They won. Everybody won. We all happy. Nobody got over on nobody. Nobody walks away from the negotiation sore thinking they got taken advantage of. Okay? Value. I'm going to read this. My man dropped it on his Facebook, so I got to give him due recognition. Carnell Burks. Shout out to him. That's my right hand man. We go back. And he said this. He said, women are born with value, and men have to build their value. This is why women focus on men with a promising future, and men reject women with a past. If it doesn't add value to a man, then it only can take from him. If her present is a constant reminder, of her past, evident by her admissions and choices, then she will struggle maintaining a relationship with men who are taking an interest in her. And I thought that was very profound. And let me, explain what he means, what's meant by that. We often hear about body count. And this is going to lead into the last one. Yes, it's a double standard. Live with it. This is why girls at a young age need to be taught that just because you like a boy, a young man, or a man does not mean you have to sleep with him. Yes, it's a double standard. I'll say it again. One of the reasons why is because as we tend to get older, most women are not going to want to deal with a man that doesn't know his way around the female anatomy in the bedroom. For a lot of women, bad sex is a deal breaker. The only way a man gets practical experience is by engaging in the form of that exercise, shall we say. So, with that being said, that doesn't mean a woman has to be a virgin, although you have some men who want that. That's going to be on a man by man basis, which is why I always tell women find out what that man wants and be straightforward with it. Alan Roger Curry always talked about that in one of his books. And if you haven't got any of his books, like I said on prior broadcast, go buy it. The double standard, like I said, the sex is one, the body counts another. The earning, men, yes, this is the double standard. You want a quality woman, you're gonna have to earn quality woman money. Okay? If you're out of shape, you need to get your behind in shape. Okay? Another thing, shout out to the field marshal, Ron Wills. He talks about your tribe. Your tribe is essentially this: the women that rock with you. Okay? The women you don't have to do any explaining to in terms of who you are, how you look, what you're about. They're gonna like you because of you. But a lot of men are not fully developed. And when I say fully developed, I mean this. Do women want to be around you because they think you cool? Because they think you your version of the Dos Equis guy? You know, can you make them laugh? Can you hold a conversation? Are you about anything with your clothes on? Okay. Do they say, hey, look, you know what? I like him. He's funny. I like him. He's intelligent. He's well read. He can actually hold a conversation. Develop yourself.
That sound like the swagger over substance that we talked about the other week.
It's a combination of the two, though. This is the thing. A man of substance to a woman, that's going to be the swagger that she wants. And I think a lot of people that really don't understand how that attracts a woman will think that you have to be all swagger. And here's a news flash. I don't think anybody, and I'm going to pull from Hollywood, I know people don't like this, but I don't think anybody would say that Denzel Washington doesn't have swagger. But yet still, we do not hear about Denzel Washington fighting in the streets, sagging his pants. Same thing with Will Smith, even though a lot of people consider Will Smith to be quote unquote corny. I'm pretty sure that if Will Smith walked through a group of women, he could have his choice. And that's the kind of man that you need to develop into being, is that when you walk through a crowd, you can turn heads. You can turn heads by how you look, acknowledgement to Kevin Samuels, how you smell, what you wear. Jeff the Style OG always talks about that, so did Kevin Samuels. Or just by your presence. Ron Wills talks about being Mr. Goodbar. Mr. Goodbar is a man who's physically attractive. Develop yourself as a man so when it comes to those things, you stand apart. And there's no crime in being a man who stands out from the crowd by not doing anything other than existing. Okay? I want y'all to understand that. There's no problem with being a part of a crowd, but there's also no no problem. There's no problem with being with your group of men. Because Dave's got a group of friends, I got a group of friends. But if you look at those group of friends, they all individually have something that makes them stand out from their people. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what you want. You want to be able to stand apart from your friends as well as be a part of that group because that's what brings you all together. If I got something I could do, my man might say, "Yo, Herb, you can do this well. Why don't you hook me up? Why don't you help me out?" And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what Kevin Samuels used to talk about when he talked about, do you bring value to your group? Those are the things that you need to focus on, things that you can control. You can't control if you're 5'6", but you can control if you got a pot belly. You can't control if you're balding. You got a receding hairline. My hairline's receding. I can't do anything about it. I can go bald. I can rock with what I got. I'm gonna rock with what I got till I can't rock with it no more, and then I'm going ego. But you have to develop that confidence in yourself to be that, because a lot of women will tell you there's nothing more than attractive than a bald head man. But you have to have the confidence to wear it.
Something you said earlier, it's been resonating in my head. And I think that was on the initial thing about the submission, and you had mentioned about like going out, and it made me think of like when it's a man and a woman, and they're at, say for example, if you're a man and you're at the woman's family house, but you're a quiet type of guy. You say what you have to say, but you kind of more observant and all that stuff. And in those type of situations, again, we always talk about KYP, know your personnel. So as a woman, you would know, like, my man, he's quiet. So I got to make sure that I cover down for him. Like, make sure he's not going to be the type to just go up to the food and just make his plate and keep going over and over. Um, he's not going to be the type that, like, okay, let me go ahead and go to this bar, go get the drinks. So I have to make sure that he's okay and he's comfortable, and vice versa. You have
Mm-hmm.
to know the personnel that you're dealing with. Like, if it's a woman and they're at your family's function, and your family likes to crack jokes, always got something to say. That would be my family. Always love to crack
Yeah.
jokes. Always got jokes. And she's quiet and kind of timid, and she's with me. That's for my place to make sure she's okay. You need
Right.
anything? You all right? Do you want something? Do you want something else? Do you want this? You know, and some people look at it, that's grown ass man, a grown ass woman. They can get up and do it. It doesn't work like that, man.
Right.
It's about making that person feel comfortable, and in due time, they may be like, all right, break out of their shell and say, you know what, I'm good now. But you, and I'm not saying that you have to be around them every moment, even if you're congregating, you always still come back and check in. You need anything? You all right? And you might find out shit after a while. They're like, okay, they comfortable now. They got loose. They connected with someone. But
Right.
I just want people to be mindful of that. Just don't think somebody can come into a situation and they just, not everybody's going to be the life of the party. You may have to kind of guide somebody into getting comfortable with your family. So I just wanted to drop that.
And I wholeheartedly agree. I remember, the first time my my family's sort of like Dave's. There's 8 boys, 3 girls, and usually when the boys get together and the beer start flowing or whatever the case is, we a handful. We a handful. And if you don't know us, you swear we fight it. But that's the brotherly love that we have. And like I said, to an outsider, you come in and you say, "Oh my God, yo, they loud. Yo, are they?" No, that's just the way they are. And in time, when an individual gets comfortable, they start taking shots. And we like that because it's fun. We've done so much dumb stuff as kids that we look back on it now as older adults. Now that, I think I'm the only one in my family that does not have kids. Yeah. No, Me and an older sister. We're the only one that don't have kids. So when we look back on it and we around, like case in point at my mother's funeral, we held the repast at my older brother's house. We were talking about all the stuff we used to do as kids. And we look back, we say, man, how the hell did we survive? Because just some stuff we did was just like head scratching. But yes, you have to give your spouse or the person that you're with covering so they are comfortable in that social setting. And that is very important because you do not, if you invite a person somewhere, they're coming on your behalf, they're coming at your behest. So you never want to leave them feeling naked. You want to make sure, even if you have to go get something for them, like David said, your food or drink, do it for them. And you say, hey, come on with me. This is this, and this. You're home. Nobody's going to bother you, your family, but they may not be comfortable doing it. Don't force it. Don't force it. Get it for them.
Because
Honestly,
on the other hand, a lot of times somebody use that as an opportunity to show out. They get around their family and they say,
yeah.
"Well, I, I can't, I can't cater to him or her because my family member might clown me like, oh, this is different or whatever the case is." You got to think at the end of the night, you're probably leaving with that person, so
Mhm.
that comes with maturity to say, I know my family got jokes, but this person means something to me, so I'm gonna take one for the team right now, and hopefully the family would be able to say she likes him or he likes her. I never see him in this element or in this type, kind of zone. So hopefully they'll get it too. But you always have one family member or something that's gonna always cut a damn fool, and they're gonna get out of pocket. That just comes with the territory. But if you're really into that person, more than likely that person already been schooled on that person, been given due process or forewarned. Yeah, my uncle or my brother or my cousin, he's gonna say this or that, but so they'll be well prepared. I mean, this is it. And a lot of times you may look at this stuff like basic 101 stuff, but sometimes these type of interactions is deal breakers
Yes.
for some people to say, I ain't never going over there again. Don't invite me. They always got something to do. And now your family saying, oh, whatever happened to Jeff? Or we ain't gonna talk about Melvin. Melvin gonna Melvin gonna feel comfortable wherever he go. But they might say, what happened to Jeff? Y'all still together? Yeah. Why? We even had several events and he hasn't came or whatever.
Mhm.
And he may say, oh, I ain't doing that no more. And so the ultimate goal is to try to make each other feel comfortable. And we always talk about interdependence and kind of build each other up in certain situations. And in that case, people may look at it like, oh, I'm not submitting, I'm not doing that, I'm not catering. But if you're really trying to mature and grow in a relationship, sometimes you're gonna have to humble yourself and bite your tongue and just kind of do certain things that you probably never did before.
Mhm. And the other thing, especially for men, if you're bringing a woman with you, when you do that, she sees and knows that you're willing to protect her. Okay. And I don't think a lot of men understand that because if you can't protect her from someone that you know, then in the back of her mind, it's going to be a subconscious thing that says, okay, I don't know if I can trust him with protecting me when we're out among strangers. Because if there's anybody that you can say something to and get it across to, it should be your family. You should be able to tell your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, aunt, uncle, cousin, hey, look, stop. And if they respect you enough, they're going to stop. That demonstrates that you're willing to put your foot down on actions or against anyone that's threatening that individual that you are supposed to cover. It's just like David's saying, those are the steps that you're taking to build a relationship. And similar to the women, if you're not willing to do those type of things for that man, then that man is going to start questioning why he's there. I can't put it to you simple. And that's the whole submission double stand. Well, I'm sorry, not double standard. That's the whole submission thing. If you're looking to establish a relationship, you got to take those steps. It's imperative that you do. Now, if you don't have any long-term concerns, or if this is just a one-off situation, meaning you just brought this individual there, then go ahead, let them have at it. But understand, you just ruined your reputation with that individual. They're gonna get among their friends, they're gonna talk about it, everybody gonna know it's you, and they're gonna say, you know what, man? Can't go anywhere with this individual. Why? Because they're gonna set you up. Who knows what they're gonna set you up for, but they're gonna set you up. And you could be out there twisting in the wind with nobody to help you, nobody to save you, nobody to come to your rescue, nobody to care. And that's the last thing that anybody wants is to be socially isolated within a social setting because they're there with you. Don't ever do anybody like that. That's to me, aside from people abusing kids and things of that nature, that's probably the worst thing you could do to somebody is invite them out and set them up.
Yeah, and like I said before, it's basic, but it's also you kind of like interviewing because that person wants to feel comfortable, and they want to say, man, you took care of me, you covered down for me, like, and they may have had prior situations where somebody left them to hang and dry. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you want something to eat? Oh, the food over there, the food over here. I'm not about to do that, so at that point a guy or a woman is already thinking like, yeah, this is probably it. This is probably it. Once we depart, uh, we don't have nothing else to say. So you have to think about those situations. And again, I'm one that I like to talk about, start off with the basics. And a lot of times people say, well, that's common sense. But no, it's not,
Yeah.
because people cut a fool around different people. And this happens every day in your circle of people that you're with. Sometimes you have certain friends you act different around. I mean, a well-rounded person, they'll say, "Oh, he consistent with his approach, or she's consistent no matter who she's with." So you might have the loud, ruckus friend who likes to stir stuff, but you still got to remain true to who you are. And that's the key thing. Not being able, not having to switch up when you're around different people. So you want to be well rounded and just be consistent in your approach. So it's important when you think about that, because again, when you navigate social media and you see the commentary of people saying, "Where are the good men? Where are the good women?" And then you talk about, okay, certain situations. There's a reason why people stop talking to each other,
Yeah.
or they went out on a couple dates and then it ends. There's a reason, and it's probably had to do, one of the words, comfort.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't pass that comfort zone thing to make it to the next step. So it's about making people feel good. People like to feel good. We're in a feel good business around here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't feel good, then there's no point of being around that person if they don't make you feel good.
Yeah. And and that's another. I'll touch on that too. Looks. Looks are important to men but they're vitally important to women. And why are they vitally important to women? Because I've been hearing, and this is something we covered before. Um, who do women dress for? And a lot of women are saying this coming around the scuttlebutt that they're dressing for other women. So the thing that you want to keep in mind as a guy is if you have a female that you're interested in, but you don't like something about the way she looks, you have two options. You can help her improve, or you can leave her alone. Now, understand if you decide to deal with this woman, her looks are no longer in play. Meaning that if she dresses a certain way and she doesn't look appealing, you can't say anything. I know it sounds fucked up, but that's what you signed on the dotted line for. So don't use her looks against her anymore. This is why I always tell people, I personally, I look at the way a woman is dressed. I could care less about how she looks. And if something is off about that, that's a no go. For me, clothes are a huge thing. I look at what you're wearing, how you're wearing them, and I don't want to make this about me, but I use me as for lack of reference. I'm sorry, as a reference. A lot of men will overlook those things, knowing that internally they don't like them. And then they start to compromise what it is, and all of a sudden, a situation to come up, and your argument might ensue. And he'll say, "Well, I never liked the fact that you wore this, this, and this." That's not what she's hearing. What she's hearing is you don't like her. Now you got a real big problem because you've taken a small issue. Because more often than not, these little tiffs start with small issues, and now you've attacked her. And in your mind, you're thinking, I just don't like what you wear. No, you don't like her because her feelings, no matter how distorted they might be, we talked about the delusion, are valid to her. So you don't have to deal with the facts, you have to deal with her feelings. You're never going to win that battle. You're just not. You're just not. Which leads me to the next thing. You've effectively ruined any peace you're going to have in that relationship because it's always going to be on her mind now. Does he think I'm overweight? Does he think this? Does he think that? And women's minds rarely shut off when they have those kinds of encounters. So understand, if you want that woman to improve something about her, you have to find a way to subtly say, you know what, babe? I think if you did this, or you know what, I would like if you did this because it would make me feel better.
See, and I think you can work towards nipping that in the bud if you had that conversation before that. And I
Mm-hmm.
know some people like may again, I'm grown. I do what I want to wear. I wear what I want to wear. But a simple question: what you wearing? What you wearing to the cookout? What you wearing to the party or whatever the event? What you wearing? Oh, I got this or I got that. Or pick that, and you can kind of already forecast what's going to happen. But a lot of times people they may say again have that attitude. I wear what I want to wear. Then you show up and you're like what the fuck he got on, or what the fuck she got on when y'all could already had that conversation. Or you may make that into an outing to say, you know what you doing? I'm going to get something to wear. Some people might already have that, might have something to wear, But if it's somebody new, it could, and if both parties have the money or whatever the
Hmm.
case is, that could be something. Oh, we could shoot here and just go hang out, and I'm gonna grab something to wear for Saturday's event, and she might say, "Oh, I was thinking the same thing," and then that way you already know ahead of time. You're already aware. But a lot of times it's you just coming through, scooping somebody, or some people like, well, I'll meet you there, whatever the case is, and then shit, you just shocked by like, damn, she really, she really wore that, or no, he didn't wear this. No, he didn't come around my people with that on.
I said this once before, and I'll say it again, fellas. If you value peace over money, and I believe most of us do because we can always replace money, we can't replace peace. And you have a situation where you want to take a female with you to an outing, doesn't matter if it's formal or informal, take her shopping. Don't allow her to pick out what she's wearing. You do it. And you know how you do that? You tell her, you say, you know what? When you wear this, this is what you look like. I like when you look like that. And if, I stress if she wants to please you, and I know that word means it's for some of y'all it's gonna be triggered. If she wants to please you, she's gonna do that. If she wants to look good for you, she'll do it. Now the key is you can't be putting her in no nonsense now. Don't do that. Don't go pick up clothes that's gonna make her look less than desirable. Because if she's a reflection of you, you want to make sure she sparkles when she walk in there. You want to make sure that people say, "Oh, who is that?" And the credit you gonna get from the women when you say, "Oh yeah, I picked that out," they're gonna say, "What? You picked that out?" And the fella's gonna give you kudos. So all you did was spend some money on something that you like, something that makes her look good. You've done your job. She's gonna be the focal point. You gonna get some peace. Ain't no telling what you're gonna get when you get back home. But that's a different topic. That's a different topic for another conversation. But fellas, you got to learn the art of being impressive. Because if you do that type of thing for a woman, she will never forget it. No matter what happens, they always say people will always forget what you say to them, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Case in point, I was walking down the alley today, going to the store. Now I live down the street from a halfway house. And I saw a young man out there consuming a beer, and it never even dawned to me where he was sitting and what he was doing. And I guess a lady that works there came out, and she asked him if he could move away because it might be triggering to somebody. And I was like, damn. I said, ma'am, you know what? Let me get this for you. I don't know who the female was. Never seen her before, and I've lived in my residence for going on 11 years. And I said, sir, let me help you out. He couldn't get up, helped him up. I said, just come down here, sit down there and consume your beer, you'll be good. And I walked back, I said, you know what, man? I said, I need to put two and two together. I said, that's my apology. Because where he was sitting was kind of precarious anyway, because a lot of cars come down that alley, and if they're not looking, he can get hit. That was my initial concern because when I turned the alley, I thought it was a dog. Then I realized it was a person when I took another step. I was like, oh, dude, you sitting in a bad place and you drinking beer? Ooh. So always be willing to extend that type of I won't call it courtesy, gratitude, but extend that type of what's the word? Just extend that to a woman. Especially like I said, especially if it's one that you're vested in, and pick her up something. Take her shopping. Say, well, I know you like this. I know you like this. If you know her size and you know what she likes, even better. Even better. She might have a pair of shoes, excuse me, that she can pair with that and say, hey, look, I got a cookout that me and my boys are going to. I want you to come with me. And she might hit you with, I don't have anything to wear. Babe, that's already taken care of.
And see, moments like that is more valuable than y'all. And a lot of y'all probably broken up over that shit anyway. Valentine's Day, grown
Mm.
ass people still getting suckered into that stuff, whatever. Now your ass dateless because you didn't get them whatever they want because you didn't put it down. Like, I don't get down with all that stuff. But moments of randomness or just doing something out of the blue just because means more when you weren't expecting it. And they may it may be a case of you talk to your significant other or somebody you're dating, and then like, having a rough day, and you might say, you know what, I'm about to leave work and I'm gonna go through. I kind of know the things that she like, and I'm gonna go see her and I'm gonna get her this, or I'm gonna do this for her, or vice versa. Goes a long way. But
Mhm.
nah, y'all too busy listening to, looking at the goddamn calendar of the year or when these holidays come up and let them dictate every move you make and dictate your paycheck and all that stuff. Better wake up, people. Do what you feel and do what's right for you and your situation. Time, season, and all of that stuff, whatever. That's valuable with during those random times, and it's it's teachable moments, is time for opportunity that you can kind of cash in and kind of make your situation better if you're on top of it.
Yeah, and Christine put something in the chat, and I'm going to address that too. Yeah, you put it up there. Fellas, I understand the need to want to get physical. I'm not telling you don't want it. But if that's the crux of the reason that you are doing something for a woman, you might as well bypass her by. Go pay for it. I'm gonna tell you now, go pay for it. Don't learn to be altruistic. Okay. This is why I tell men, have you a couple female friends that you're not sexually interested in? As counterproductive as this is gonna sound, have a few, because I always say about the women, I say if a woman doesn't have a male friend that she doesn't know for at least 20 years, then she failed as a woman. Same thing applies to you, men. If you don't have a female friend that you can call on in a pinch that can accompany you somewhere and she looks good on your arm, then you failed as a man. And I know there are going to be people out there that say men and women can't be friends. I'm calling bullshit. Immature men and women can't be friends.
Well,
Why? Go ahead, Dave.
you know what I'm gonna say, and you may not be talking about this. They can be friends, but I'm not about to be demoted. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna be then all of a sudden I'm your homeboy moving your furniture and all of that shit for somebody else to pull up. Nah, we can't be
Well, no, no,
friends.
no. I completely understand that. That's why it has to be reciprocal. You might you let's look at it like this. Let's say I got a female friend. She needs me to move something. She calls me up. She said, "Herb, I need you to help me come move this refrigerator in." I say, "All right, bet. I'll come move the refrigerator." She say, "Look, I don't have any money to pay." I said, "You know you don't have to pay me." She already understands that I might call her, and that's how she repays me. I'd be like, "Look, I need you to make me, I need you to make me a cake for such and such date. I got you. Do you need me to buy anything? I don't need you to buy me anything. What do you want? Those are the type of relationships that you should be fostering if you're a single, unmarried man. Doesn't matter if you're in a committed relationship or not, and I'll address that in a moment. If you're in a committed relationship, then that individual, if they're mature enough, they're going to respect your boundaries, whether you're male or female. They're going to say, okay, you know what? This person is in a committed relationship. I need to respect those boundaries. What that means, if you were texting this person every so often or whatever the case is, you cut them text out. You might send a text and say, look, I'm just checking on you, see how you doing. Leave it at that. They might send you a text to see how you doing. Say, hey, look, we haven't touched base in a while. Everything's going well with me. I'm just checking in with you because that's what friends do. Not every time you do something, you're going to be paid immediately. It might be in the near future, it might be in the distant future. If you're keeping tabs on what you've done for an individual and what they've done for you, then you don't have a genuine friendship. And that's just my position. Because friends come together in a time of need. I don't know what an individual's need is going to be 2 days from now, a week from now. My boy could call me and say, hey, look, I need something. I got you. My homegirl could call me and say, look, I need something. I got you. Because I'm going to be able to do the same to them. And I'm not going to have to worry about payment. Sidebar. We don't have the friendships that we used to. Most people don't because they put a price tag on their friendship, meaning that they're always looking for a return. And I actually had that written down, cost versus ROI. Friendships are invaluable, especially as we get up in age. There's no replacement for them. If you don't invest in them while you're young, you won't have them when you get older. And the reason that becomes important is this. Let's say you get in a car accident, broken leg. You need somebody to come over periodically to help you out with something. Might help cooking, might help with laundry. You might have a female friend that's more than willing to do that, provided you invested in it some years ago. But because you didn't invest in it, she don't want to help you. Because when you ask her to take it someplace, in order to do that, you had to have sex with her. Now she views you as a creep. She don't want nothing to do with you. And she telling her friends, I thought so and so was an all right guy. He wanted to take me to a Super Bowl party, but in order to take me to the Super Bowl party, he wanted to have sex with me. You just crossed the line, partner. If, and I stress if, you wanted sex from her, you should have made it known from day one. And if she shot you down, leave it alone and leave her alone. Going about your merry way. Because that's like a broken mirror. You're never going to be able to fix it to the point where it was before the mirror was broken. I think that's a lot of things a lot of guys don't understand. I'm not saying you can't be sexually attracted to your friends. That's human nature to be sexually attracted to somebody you think looks attractive. I'm not telling you don't be. I'm not telling you don't act on it. I'm just simply saying don't conflate the two. If you got a friend, leave her in that zone. Don't try and promote her unless you're dead ass serious about marrying her. I can't be no more forthright than that because you got a lot of guys out here who will promote just to smash and then they gone. And then they wonder why women say all men are dogs. I ain't defending that nonsense.
Yeah, I guess with that, if you're gonna promote, it got to be two willing people to want to
Mm-hmm.
promote, but your intentions, I guess, have to be well, but reading in the commentary and all that stuff, friendships are important. But the one thing I always say, and I try to school my middle school kids on that, you only need two or three, four solid friends.
Hmm.
And if you get those friends, that can they can carry on throughout a lifetime.
Yeah.
But when you're caught up and you're friends with this group and you're friends with that group and you're trying to pull people from that group, because you still have grown ass people still trying to pull people from different friends, um, um, from different friend groups. I don't have time for all that. I got my core friends.
Yeah.
I got my core friends, and then it's branched out to other individuals. Like me and her, we don't hang out all like that. But if I'm in town and it's a family function and it's
He calls me
it's
up.
for a good cause, I always let them know. Come up,
Yep.
pull up,
And it's
and
always
I
appreciated.
and I think that's how it should be because I wouldn't reach out to him if he wasn't a part of my world
Right.
and something that's important to me. So a lot of times we have this shit all screwed up, even as adults. People need to understand, and I think you mentioned it earlier, and you mentioned what Brother Carnell said, value. People gotta have
Hmm.
value.
Hmm.
People gotta have value. They gotta add to your life. It
Yeah.
can't be somebody always subtracting. Uh, and sooner or later, as a grown person with a stable mind, you weed people out
Yeah.
and you say, I can't do this anymore with this. They give me nothing. Yeah, we was cool. We went to school, um, K through 12 or whatever the case is. And then after that, but I'm different now. I'm
Yeah.
growing.
Yeah.
I'm changing. I'm evolving. So the nonsense you still going through, I'm not trying to do that anymore. And I'll
Right.
be damned if I let that weigh on me
Yeah.
because those type of people will continue to call, continue to text, and
Hmm.
continue to do with everything. You can't do that with a functional family, your job, and all that. Those people got to go.
Yeah.
They got to go. Unfortunately, you still love them and all that stuff, but you got to feed people with a wooden spoon. A lot of y'all must never seen that wooden spoon in your household, or that your grandmothers, your mothers had that long wooden spoon. Here you go. Here you go. Have some of this from this long wooden spoon.
Yep.
Y'all trying to feed people with baby fucking spoons that you got to be close and intimate, whatever. You need distance from those type of individuals.
I didn't see. She said a booty call is not a promotion from friend. Oh my gosh! Woo! Oh. I guess I could say that or talk about that in this particular manner. If you have a friend, male or female, that is that sole purpose, and you two agree, enjoy, but don't mislead somebody into thinking that it was more just to get there. That's deceitful. And you know what? There's a special place in purgatory for people that are deceitful and do that. And Alan Roger Curry said this before, and in his book, hey, if you're honest with her, that might be all she wants. So you fulfilling a need. Ain't no need to be deceitful. Ain't no need to be sly or run game. There's women out here that just want sex. That's all they want. And if they pick you, ride the wave. And like I always say, keep your goddamn mouth closed. Keep it closed. If you want more, talk less. Don't be E.F. Hutton, god damn it. And for those of you who don't know, What that means, E.F. Hutton's slogan was, where E.F. Hutton talks, everybody listens. Don't be E.F. Hutton.
What the hell EF Hutton did? I haven't seen whatever happened to EF Hutton.
I,
It's been a
I
while.
think they were the insurance company. Don't quote me on that, but that was the slogan. I always found it funny, and I never really had a practical reason to talk about it until just now. I'll probably mention it one or two other times. But yeah, man, a lot of fellas and segue for a moment. And I've said this before. Stop putting your bedroom activities out there for the world. If, and I stress if, word of mouth gets out about how you get down, they gonna find their way to you. Women talk. And yes, women share, contrary to popular belief. I'm not gonna tell you how I know. I'm just gonna tell you that I know. Take it for what you want to. If you've never had that experience, good for you. If you had that experience, good for you. I'm not here to advertise anything. I'm just here to tell you that that's how life works.
Yeah, so again, we covered a lot trying to put pieces together in dating once. Are women delusional? Are men stubborn? And I think everything we talked about is kind of intertwined that kind of cover a great deal of everything. One of the things I want to look at resistance to change as far as men. That's kind of big too. Because if you think about it, the slogan, keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. The definition of insanity is to keep doing what you're doing and expect different results. Sooner or later, you're going to have to change up something.
Mhm.
You got to get out there and get something. You have to change it up. And as you get older, shit, you're on the clock. You playing with house money. And sooner, and the thing is, see, I think the problem is I might be taking shots right now, but I don't give a damn. The problem is some guys think they always gonna be relevant.
Mhm.
You only relevant on things that you do and that makes sense and is purposeful, meaningful, and it's legit. You can't just you may been the big dog in your heyday, but you'll certainly find out in your late 30s or 40s or 50s you don't have it
Yeah.
because you haven't done anything different and you haven't done anything to inspire anybody on a consistent basis. It's a lot of guys out there that they out there fishing with no bait or whatever the case is, trying to come up with stuff, and they're well past their time. See, we always talk about comparing stuff to sports analogies and all that stuff. The real ones, they ante up. They do what they got to do. When people look at LBJ, just broke the record. Not this Tuesday, but the past Tuesday, he put in a lot of work
Mhm.
to be able to have longevity, and he put a lot of work into his body and all that stuff to stay fit or whatever the case is. So I'll be the first one to admit I'm not a bill of health or whatever my body or whatever the case is, but I do certain things. I'm not gonna be no out of shape cop. You're not gonna look at me and the first thing you're gonna think about is a donut. or a cheeseburger because I'm gonna try to put myself in a position that I don't look like that. Uh, but there's some guys that think they still holding on. They holding on to their days of high school in their 20s and all that stuff. But you're 60. That was like fucking 40 years ago. The time has passed you. You need to go to the freezer and get that humble pie
The
and get some
flaky
toppings on it
crust.
and just chill or change up your methods.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it worked both ways. It ain't always like, oh, we dogging out women and all that. Guys can get, I always say, guys can get it too.
Hmm.
And like I
Yeah.
said, I'm not no poster board for this and that, but I try. And like I said, the first thing you think of me, you're not going to think of a donut or a cheeseburger.
Well, I look like one right about now. I sort of look like a donut with glaze on it, but that's okay. We working on that. Self-deprecating humor, people, is a good thing. It keeps you humble. It keeps your feet on the ground.
So when when you think about that, we all have our dating wants, and whether it's delusional, being stubborn, and end up being a clash of different ideologies, whatever, that we got to move forward. But we're gonna jump into segment two about how does the no contact rule affect women. Yeah, we talking about women because it's two guys on here. So, but yeah, of course we'll integrate men to it as well. So when you think about the no contact rule, that's when, the breakup thing. Like, yo, don't contact me, don't reach out, don't say, I blocked you on this. How does it affect people? Because that's real too. The way that you handle these situations. And as we could see from watching the news and different things, people are not handling it well
Yeah.
in some cases. That's where you have the domestic violence and things of that nature. You talk good that you can handle the no contact rule, but as soon as somebody really implement it, now you want to go postal. And people been going postal and be a lot of stuff going on as far as that. So that's just my introductory. Herb, what's your initial thought on the no contact rule?
Uh, um, because I mean, for me, this can go a couple of different ways. Um, if if you're going that way because of a divorce and there's kids involved, then that could be a disaster waiting to happen. Now, I'll preface this by saying, yes, I do not have any kids, and I've never been married. However, I have family members that are married and divorced, and I see what two parents who are on the same page when it comes to rearing children can do for those kids. That's why I can say that. I can say that from actually seeing that firsthand. So it's difficult when you do that as two parents and you go no contact. Well, what they did was so heinous that I don't want to speak to them anymore. The template that you're setting, and the message that you're sending for your kids is that whatever happened was so bad that you don't ever want to talk to that person again. I understand feelings can be raw, the situation can be volatile. That's when you have to be able to withdraw, assess what it is, figure out how to resolve your issues, build a bridge so you can get back to where it is. I'm not saying that you have to like the individual. I'm not saying you have to love the individual. I'm not saying you have to be able to sit down and have dinner with the same individual. All I'm saying is that the bridge needs to be repaired enough so that your kids, what they see is two adults, no matter what the turmoil and the fallout was, they still can come together for a greater cause. Because people, and this is something I've come to realize, people think parenting is a job, and I'm going to disagree. Parenting is not a job. Parenting is a responsibility. You have a responsibility as a parent to ensure that the children that you have brought forth or you have brought forth turn into fully functional, competent, and capable adults. Easier said than done. Yes, I know. But that's your responsibility. And that's what you signed up for when you created that child. We see evidence now of this with kids who don't behave well, whether it's in school, out of school, local shopping mall. We see these fights with these kids, and they're all over the place. Hundreds of kids. I remember about a month and a half ago, there was 100 kids across town from me fighting at 12:30 a.m. No adults around. And when the officer told me that, I said, "What in the world is this world coming to?" So that's the thing with the no contact rule with regards to that. Um, Now, if you're just getting out of a relationship and you know you caught him dicking down your best friend, I can understand you going no contact because you ain't got no rhyme or no reason to speak to him again. But the thing about it is, what role does your friend play in this? Because if your friend knew that you were dating this dude, then you got some shiesty friends on your squad, and you got to do some evaluation. I can say that because I've been in that situation. It is just like, yo, why would you want to do that? The odd thing is, let me not put too much out there. Like I said, I've been in that situation, and for me, it kind of caught me off guard. I still maintain contact with one of the individuals, and I'm not going to say who the individual is because it's neither here nor there. But the reason why I maintain contact with the one individual is because I was given some information, so I was well aware of what could happen. And when it did happen, I was disappointed, but I wasn't surprised. So when somebody gives you some information about who they are, things that might happen, things that are capable of happening, take it to heart, take it at face value. So if and when that time does come to pass, you're not completely blindsided. And that person could be a wonderful individual. It's just that the situation that they were in, they didn't handle it well. You can cut them off, or you can ingratiate them, like David says, feed them with a wooden spoon, and say, "Hey, you know what? This individual has some value to me. I like the value that this individual has. It may not be a relationship value, but it is a friendship value. I've been there. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you anything that's going to lead you awry or put you in a bad situation, but assess every situation individually because every situation that you're in is unique because the individual that you're dealing with is unique. So go ahead.
And see, and I think that's important to be able to dissect into figure. I learned from counseling. I ain't gonna say 101, but it was one of my classes, and I've brought mentioned that before. The miracle question. You have to ask yourself: is my life better with this person or without them? If you know that that person brings more value to your life, then you'll know like I can't cut them off completely. But if your life is better, like oh, it's just too much, it's toxic. It's just I can't get anything done. I can't function at work. It's just too much. It's impacting me. It's impacting the kids. Then you and it may be somebody that's not even the father of your children or the mother of your children. There's the answer. There's the answer right there. You have to ask yourself that. And we call it the miracle question. Naomi said, I only have a no contact rule when dealing with toxic dudes. I am so quick to cut the cancer before it spreads. Dealing with co parenting situations, we kept a universal front until the last one's um, 18. Naomi also said, I value my peace of mind. I tend to treat toxic folks like the plague. And that's the key thing, your peace of mind. Because when you don't have a peace of mind, it leads to stress. And we know stress plays a big factor in a lot of health issues
Mm-hmm.
when you're stressed out. And not only with mental health, but just other things that it might cause a rise in certain situations that you don't really need to be stressed out or dealing with people. But sometimes people don't give a damn. They don't give a damn what you're going through.
Yeah.
They don't care. Uh, they're stressed the hell out you because we live in a self-centered world where people are selfish. But the only way to handle that is you have to ask yourself, shit, is it worth it? Is it worth
Yeah.
it? And
And
in
I
those
think for,
cases,
oh,
you
go ahead.
cut people. In those cases, you realize, like, yeah, I gotta cut this person off. Got to cut them off. Go ahead.
And I think for women, it's really important, like Naomi says. And I think the thing that hurts a lot of women is the sex element. That's always the 800-pound gorilla in the closet. If a woman has really developed that kind of chemistry with this individual, she's caught in the crossroads. Do she want to go find, especially if she has a high libido, do she want to cut this individual off completely, or does she want to put him in the quasi friends with benefit category? Look, I don't like you. We can't be a couple together, but I just, from time to time, I just want you to come scratch my itch. I think for a lot of women, that's a concern because we started to get into the whole body count, and most women, especially when they get to a certain age, they don't want to introduce any more men to themselves. And I understand it's a hell of a situation to be in. And people will say, well, get toys. Some women don't vibe with them. They say it's not the same. I need that physical intimacy. I need that physical connection. So a lot of women, they end up backsliding to that toxic man because they want that physicality that he provides for them, especially if they've been together a long time and she's got so accustomed to it and things work with him. She can achieve orgasm with him. She's knows what he likes. She knows they know each other's boundaries, and it clicks. It works for him. Ron Wills calls it the Mr. Goodbar man, the maintenance man, as David calls him. Hey, women have them, and we like to believe that a lot of women aren't out here getting their groove on to the 45 or the 35. But hey, don't be fooled. Do not be fooled. Women have sexual desires too. and they want them met. Why do you think that the adult toy store is filled with primarily things for mostly women? It's not by mistake, people. It's intentional. It is intentional.
No, what's funny? Now that you say that, I always, I always think about when I ride through PA, heading to Niagara Falls or coming from Niagara Falls to Baltimore. How in PA, Pennsylvania, how they have all these adult stores and these little things, and you be like, you ride through there and they lit up whatever, and you see, I'm like, oh, this shit jam packed. Do you know where your husband is at? This stuff is jam packed tonight going through. I'm like, wow, like, and I never see that. Only when I, you know, when that became one of my modes of travel, going through from Baltimore to because I never seen like any adult stores like that in Niagara Falls where you pull up, you go in there, and I guess you had the booths, whatever. You watch naked women and all that stuff, and I like shit is out of control. But some days when women in PA, when you're looking for your man, like where you at, I can tell you, yeah, one of them adult stores because they all they all on one stretch. You be like what the hell? What's in there? But it's real.
And kudos to the men out there who can actually fill that role, if you will. I'm like I said, man. There and it's a double-edged sword. And this is something we talked about earlier. A man is not going to be viewed unfavorably for going back and dealing with an ex strictly for sex. Some go say, "Hey, man, yeah, you got it like that. Go ahead." Some women will be viewed badly, especially if he was abusive toward her. If in other people's eyes he mistreated her. It's not an easy road, no pun intended, geez, road to hoe for women going that route, going the no contact route, like I said, because they're dealing with a whole different set of circumstances and dynamics than men are. So I don't envy women, when it comes to certain things. They gotta, especially if she's working, if she's a working class woman, which most women are, whether it's career or job, and she has a child or two, she's got to balance all of this. She's got to figure out, how can I get these kids out of my hair for about an hour and a half? That's all I need is an hour and a half once every 2 weeks. I'm good. I can go out, meet my maintenance man, go back home, and I could deal with these loud crying kids. That was, think about it. What did we hear during COVID? That these parents couldn't wait for these kids to go back to school. There's a lot of reasons. And I'm sure one of the reasons were a lot of these women couldn't get their groove on. You find a woman who's to be there. So yeah, it's not easy, but for some women, that's the only way they have to go, is that no contact, because self-preservation becomes the reason. So whether, like I said, DV, um, divorce, or whatever the case it is, sometimes you got to get away. So cold turkey is the only way to go. Block him on social media. Don't respond to his texts. You have some men who will go through another friend If you have to tell your friends, hey, look, if such and such reaches out to you, just say she's doing okay. That's it.
And see, for me, if somebody, when people come at you with the no contact rule, and sometimes it's not even established that they say that. They may just call themselves, I'm not gonna respond. I'm gonna ignore everything. I usually I would have like a 2 week window, and that may be too long, but it's like sporadically. You try to reach out, and then eventually, I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
not gonna be. I'm not. I would never be that dude that want to show up at somebody's job or post up outside their house or whatever the case is to shine the light of embarrassment on me.
Yeah.
So again, for guys, I know women, y'all don't want to, might not want to hear this, but that only happens when you feel like you're not the big catch. You're not the big fish. If you're a guy and you feel you're the big fish, you're gonna say easy come, easy go, another duck. uh, it's gonna be you're gonna have you're gonna have if you want to, you could jump right back into something.
Yeah.
You could jump right back into something and like, hey, and play your cards and say she gonna come around eventually because some women do come around and they say, I really wanted you to, I really wanted you to chase me.
Hmm.
I really wanted to see how long, um, how long you was gonna go. Shit, I wanted you to come by the house. But if you're a guy with integrity, why would I come by your house? And you said don't contact you. But sometimes that's part of the game.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's cap. Like when you really didn't want me, you didn't come after me. Uh, shit. And some guys have a key, but y- you're you may have a key, but if somebody say don't do this or that, and they don't take the key at the time, you just not gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna go over there." Then shit, who knows?
Yeah, buddy.
Some people sloppy. Some people sloppy and messy. Somebody else sitting there, and the woman may know, oh, he ain't gonna come. He usually call before he come. He just ain't gonna have an act of desperation and use the key, and then somebody else sitting up on the couch. So it just depends on the individual.
Hmm.
Sir Tice, what's up, brother? He said these tactics don't work, yet it's part of the programming. Sad. Yeah. And that's part of the programming that women or guys, and I'm gonna speak say for women, that they'll use those tactics. But if you're a guy and you think, listen, I don't got time for this, and you can that you have, and you might not even want to get into it with other involve other people, but you have fallback folks. You're not gonna stress out. But some guys they lose their damn mind.
All right.
Um, yeah, they lose their mind. So I was talking about Sir Tice comments. He said these tactics don't work yet as part of their programming. Sad.
Well, we never say that women are logical creatures when it comes to certain things, but given that a lot of guys are operating under that premise, and I think that's what a lot of guys need to understand that you have to give women room to make those kinds of decisions and realize that they may come back. You can accept them or you can move on. Either way, you have to be okay with your decisions because if you straddle in the fence, you only end up putting yourself in a position to get screwed over. And I think that's why a lot of guys end up saying, well, the only reason I took her back was because I thought so and so and so and so. If she's coming back, set the stipulations. as to why you're going to deal with her. And if it's just primarily just for sex, let her know.
Yeah,
My
you got to be the
options are
shot caller. You got to be the
yeah,
shot caller.
yeah. My options are open like the screen door. I'm letting flies in and letting flies out. You free to go anytime you want to, but this is just gonna be uh how do I delicately say this? This is just gonna be a cheeks clapping session. Ain't nothing else going on. ain't no, ain't nothing else going on, and she might get mad. She might blow up. She might want to talk about destroying your personal possessions, keying your car, and you can just say, okay, you know what? You right. Ain't nothing going on now, and just shut it down. Just shut the whole thing down. Don't deal with her at all. And hey, she may be the bomb diggity in bed, but as we talked about earlier, is it worth your peace of mind? And that was something I had to come to grips with about 13 years ago. Caught a live wire. Boy, she do some things. She do some things. She do some things, man. And I had to call my boy, man. I was like, yo, man, this is a situation. Yada yada yada. He was like, man, are you crazy? I had to sit up and think. I was like, man, I felt like my man from Harlem Nights picked up the phone. Let me speak to your mother. Babe, I ain't never coming home.
Mm.
So, I mean, you run into them, man. You catch one. And sometimes you got to talk to somebody that's going to steer you in the right direction. So, uh, I got out of that situation, thank God, because ain't no telling what the hell would happen with me in that situation. When I say I don't know what the hell happened, yeah, I don't know what the hell could happen. That's exactly what I mean. Think worst case, almost worst case scenario. Yeah. So sometimes those women they will violate certain rules, especially because that's what it was supposed to be. As far as she was concerned, she's like, okay, I'm done with you. All right, and we happen to work at the same place. I'm not gonna say where. And this was after I said because we both worked the same shift. And I was talking to my man. I was 10 minutes after normal shift. Now I didn't realize she was outside waiting for me. She never told me she was. I didn't assume she was because we weren't dealing with each other anymore. So I get home and I just hop on the computer, check my email, and I get this email. She damn near cursing me out. I was outside waiting for you. You didn't come outside. Yada. I'm like, yo, I don't know you anything. So they straddle the line, man, and sometimes they want what you got, especially if it was good to them, man. So be aware of the fence straddlers, man. And like I said, if you get one of them, call your shots, like David said. Be that shot caller, and don't be afraid to walk away, because they will do it to you.
Yeah, and I think that's the bottom line. If they feel they have the power, they're gonna walk away. But if you have the power, they're gonna keep coming. And some of the times, like I've talked about it before. Sometimes you simply got to Machiavelli somebody. You got to Machiavelli. You just got to disappear. You got to be a mystery. Uh, but I think that's the key to the initial state of for women because they'll take advantage of that good guy that wants to
Mhm.
be present. Got a man, Sir Tice was good.
What
Hey,
up?
happy Monday, gents. How you guys doing?
Yes, man. We doing well, man.
Right.
Yeah, I think what you just mentioned, Herb, was on point. I think the problem with a lot of guys, and I don't want to say we all been there, but I'll just say, some just like you, everybody misses a key shot or whatever. A lot of guys, I don't want to sound cliche, but a lot of guys don't know their value or aren't willing to walk away because they think having something is better than nothing. And then
Mhm.
if you're living in a colder climate, where there's less opportunities, that'll compound that. But I would say this, and this is the point I really want to come up on, and that is that you have to look at how many guys are groomed. You know, it used to be guys were more active, so they would put themselves in better positions to meet other people. Whereas now, guys are less, I mean, forget the women for a second. Guys are less active, spend more time with video games, social media, internet. And I don't mean all guys, I'm just saying in general. And I have a motto that if you want average, if you can't expect great results by doing average things.
Right.
Okay? You're not going to run 11 seconds, your 10 seconds, 100-yard dash by thinking you can just walk to the store all the time. I'm exaggerating. None of us can run in that, that time, but I think you get the point. So whereas on a just more practical level, I don't care what status that a brother is at his life, he can add more interest into his life, whether that's him reading on something that he's not familiar with but was always interested in, or just going to different places or things like that. You know what I'm saying? So he can always add into that. And then I've always believed that when you add that into your toolkit of sorts, you put yourself out to meet more people who are on that, where you guys will then have, more things of in common, which will make the conversation easier and things like that. But this whole nonsense of getting back with exes and all that stuff. Now, by the way, if y'all cool, whatever.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that part.
Right.
But, many people do that out of desperation because, and this is what I said about how we're groomed. What happened to David?
He'll be back. He just popped off for a second. Probably went to the bathroom.
Yeah. So what I was saying was that, and I just lost my train of thought about how we're groomed. I hate to get into this whole single mother thing, but I'm going to say it.
Oh, no, it's accurate.
Mothers groom their children typically, and it's because they're the more, old school mothers. I don't know about these selfie queens now or whatever. So it's probably different. But generally speaking, women are groomed more for security. Okay. So the guy will learn to take the safe route in things versus putting himself out there, taking risks. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I say every relationship should be like a chapter in your life.
Right.
That chapter is done. Move on to the next. Stop living in the past. Stop being these people. Stop being the Al Bundy. What was it? 5 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns? I think it's 4.
I think it was 4 touchdowns a poke out. Yeah.
Yeah. Stop living in the past. Stop trying to recreate, stop. Damn it, there's an expression I wanted to use too, but stop trying to recreate what isn't there. You can't wear the same clothes you wore 10 or 15 years ago. So stop trying to rekindle that nonsense, and I'm just, and when people look at it like that, maybe they'll move on. But because we're so not us in general, but definitely women are so afraid of not being comfortable or not being comfortable, that they're gonna always go the safety route, even if it's to their detriment. They can talk all that peace of mind nonsense, but their complaints on social media completely says otherwise. Do you realize how bleeped up you have to be to talk about your personal stuff in a way daily? Some of the think about it. Think about some of the toxic stuff that comes up in your group or whatever. I'm like, damn, this is what's on your mind? I'm thinking about what I'm going to get for lunch. You're thinking about BANs, this is what's coming up, or how messed up these females are and all this. I get it. I'm all for good conversation and all, but damn, man, sometimes you got to move on from this nonsense. But that's just my little spiel.
I think the reason why a lot of guys can't is because a lot of them have never had any successes with women. See, we come from a different age demographic where, like you said, we were out there.
Right.
So if a female said no, it was no big deal. These guys are probably meeting one woman every 2 or 3 months. So when they hear no, It's not that a door closes; it's a building falls.
You raising kind of a valid point. I'm just trying to wrap myself around. I was at some tiki bar over the weekend, and my friend brought somebody who he met on one of these dating sites, and I'm not a big fan of dating sites at all.
Yeah.
And she was saying, "Well, what do you supposed to do if you're a busy 50-year-old?" And I said, "Well, you come out here like you just came out here." Now she didn't know that I knew that he met her on a dating site, right? I'm not gonna
Mhm.
blab
Yeah.
what he told me, but it did make me think like, okay, if you're busy, how do you get out there? But it just goes back to getting out there, because I think one thing that has happened with these apps is social media. It's retarded people's social
Mhm.
skills.
It has.
Yeah, I think, and I think, again, like we said, the overinflation of self worth. Like you can be whoever you want to on social media. You can say this, you can say that, but it comes to a point that you may have to, when the lights get bright, you may have to own up to it.
Yeah, I don't think it. I don't with a lot of these men. I just younger men. I don't think it's in them. I honestly don't think it's done. I mean, you look
There,
at. Go ahead, Satice.
no, there's a caveat to that, Dave. I had to step away for a second. We're from the generation, I think, where you have to say something and mean it or be able to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whereas now you can say, this is why grown ass men get in the tizzy if you don't agree with them anything about LeBron James or whatever. And it's like, cut this idolatry nonsense or whatever, right? So I'm gonna tie this back to the social thing in a second. So yes, you can be anything you want. What are you doing to make that happen?
Yeah,
Oh, they hate when you see, like,
yeah.
okay, okay. Yes, you're this beautiful queen or whatever. And I'm not saying anybody, if they, regardless of what they look like, shouldn't see themselves as beautiful. I'm not saying that, but it's kind of, think of it like this. It's kind of like my issue with social justice warriors, so-called pro-black people, and I put this on so-called pro-black. It's like they criticize the so-called I don't even want to call them the power structure. There's a better word I would like to use, but they criticize, let's just say, those who control the media of sorts, right?
I would say the
We need to
dominant culture.
Right. They criticize the dominant culture players, the puppeteers, and all this. We need to be more represented. We need more things to show us. But then or they say that they need that. Then they get mad when they show other things. But then they get happy when they see something that so-called validates them. So what
Mhm.
is the connection here that I'm getting at? You're it's like, you want to talk about slave mind. This is the slave mind if there ever was one. It's like you're
Yeah.
basically saying it's kind of it's the main reason here. I'll say it more crystallized like this. It is the main number one reason that term white supremacy isn't even in my vocabulary. Now I don't want to make this about race here, but I'm just using an example. This is what they call themselves. Those who think that they're power, okay? You're reinforcing their superiority. You
Mhm.
know, by saying white supremacy. But as it ties with dating, when women do all this stuff, looking for fishing for comments and validation, wait a minute. You're trying to do this for the same old bum dudes that you called bum dudes, or dudes
Yeah.
dudes who you don't care about, or you passport bros. Y'all ain't nothing. Nobody wants y'all anyway. But you're the one putting up the pictures so that they can see. Make it make sense.
Hmm.
If you're this proud of yourself, and listen, I get it. Women got to have more vanity than men, so I'll give them that, thing or whatever. But it's like I'm not adverse to posting things about my personal thing on social media, but I nowhere near post it like I used to, because I'm coming to realize, am I posting this to just showcase fun or envy?
Yeah.
No, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy to, I don't have to make people who I don't know envious.
Right.
that's not even in my mind. It's just usually, hey, I like conversation starters, or like, hey, it's here, maybe it'll spark this. But otherwise, I just keep them to myself. And then when I'm out, I can show them about, yeah, I think you get my connection. It's just that with this whole social media now with the younger people, because I mean, it's kind of sad. A person that's 30 years old, they got their first cell phone probably at 10 years old when they were 2000. You know, that's two,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in 2000, they went through the MySpace and you know, they went to the MySpace, Facebook. This is all they know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what's scary, man. You know,
Yep.
like these next 10 years, these relationships, you know,
Whew. It's gonna be ugly.
because the personal connections a lot of times are not there. That we went through it, and it was genuine. It was authentic. It was right there in front of us. A lot of their interactions deal with social media or texting and all of that stuff. Well,
Yeah.
that's not how we got involved with women.
I think what's important for any young man or any generation is to have somebody who may either be good with this or they can at least bounce things off of. You know what I'm saying? And what I
Hmm.
mean by that is I've learned, and I wish I would have recognized this when I was younger. I recognize some aspect of it, but that's what comes with experience. You learn more when you so-called fail than you do when you
Oh, yeah.
succeed. Do
Yeah.
you learn more when you get rejected? Now, is she rejecting you, using this as, is she rejecting you, or is she in a bad mood at the time, or she don't know, or whatever? Well, you can't. Why are guys, I think I said this when y'all used to have full panels, but man, maybe if I did, I didn't. But if you're applying for a job, it to me is the same thing of looking for a female or whatever, right? Now, a little bit difference with jobs, there are a little bit more things you're going to apply for than with women or what have you, right? But you're going to fill out more, fill out more, submit more resumes, fill out more applications for a job. And then if they reject you, you're not personally vested in this.
Right. Yeah.
Versus with the women, oh my God, you get some dudes who are torn up inside and it's crazy. And obviously, we know most women don't approach men. Well, that's changing nowadays, but I would still say less than 20% of them approach men. You know, many don't learn or aren't equipped to how to deal with rejection. Meeting someone via dating or social is acceptable. Middle age aren't hanging out at clubs. So, do anyone knows the name of this person? Because this is very easy to refute. But let me explain something. Because like I kind of this is like one of those kind of cliche cop out answers. Number one, there are plenty of gatherings for people that are over 35, 40, 45, 50, 50 plus, 60 plus. You know, things like cigar bars. And if you hate cigar bars, you can go to I just had it on the tip of my tongue, whatever, things where they play card games and things of that nature. But then there's also activities, you know, people go bowling, things like that. You know, everything isn't in the damn club. And the truth be told, most of the worst interactions I've ever had have been motherfuckers I've, pardon my language, who, you know, were people who I've met at the club.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, you know, learn, I mean, for crying out loud, pick up a freaking hobby or something like that, you know, and then go and do that, you know, travel. Or if you don't have the money to just travel, go to a group where they talk about the travel and what you need or whatever, things like that. I mean, have we gotten to the point that we only think that you can meet people on apps, social media?
Hey, let me jump in here for a hot second, Sir Tice. All three of us right now talking, we are football fans. I said last week that the second biggest social day of the year is what?
Super Bowl.
How many women host a Super Bowl party?
Not only that, I was at a Super Bowl party last week, right? So I bought, I go to it regularly. It's a former Dolphin that holds it, and it was damn near, it was pretty nice. You know, I tell women all the time during football season, especially, or particularly playoffs of any sport. I know most women don't get down into things like baseball and things like that, but we'll just say football every Sunday. that is the place if you're looking for men. Now I know they don't want to look like they're looking for men, that kind of things. Younger people,
But they
and
do it.
but they do. But we know that women go out to be seen, and then the guys will approach. So we get that whole aspect. But every Sunday of every year or every week, if I'm not traveling to a game, I'm usually watching it at this one place.
Mhm.
It's just our this is what our thing what we do here in South Florida, right? In
Yeah.
fact, when I was going back and forth to Detroit because my mother was sick over last year.
Mm.
She's much better now, but
Good.
it kind of blew me away on she was asleep on Sunday, and I'm like, okay, let me find out where to go to watch the game at. And man, it was tough. I'm like, man, y'all don't go and watch games? I did find one place, but it's like, come on, all these sports bars. But I get it with the whole winter cabin fever. But the point of the matter is that there are plenty of places. Heck, you have one website called Meetup. Whatever your interests, you type your interests. Boom, there's meetings for that. I mean, come on, let's not come with that weak cop out there.
And this is the thing. We hear all these women talking about their professions and how professional they are. Kevin Samuels, no, I'm sorry, not Kevin Samuels. Ron Wills said, take some business cards, give them to the bartender, have that bartender screen for you eligible men. Have him give out your business card to some people and expect those calls. See, a lot of women don't want, and like you, David said, they're risk averse. A lot of women don't want to put themselves out there to meet guys. They don't want to do the things that are necessary to even be in the realm of where guys are going to be. And like you were saying, Sir Tice, every week for 17 weeks is an opportunity for a woman to meet a suitable man. Cigar bar, lounges, museums. I've been saying volunteer for political events for years.
Right. I, no, you just nailed it. I mean, the opportunities, and these are most of those things you mentioned require no money or
None.
limited money. God, do you know how many drinks I've bought just on the conversation level? That
Mhm.
oh, you talking? Hey, just get a drink, even though I'm not even interested or whatever, things
Right.
like that. My dude, and when I was younger, I remember because I won't get into my younger days, but I'll just say, you had women. I don't think this is cool, but let's just say if the money isn't tight, they know how to go out and hustle drinks from dudes or whatever. They buy one, they're gonna nurse it anyway. They're not gonna be like us and drink 5 or 6 drinks.
Right.
They're gonna have one or two. So you buy one, then some dude buys you one, and you're pretty much set for the night. You've made.
Mhm.
And by the way, every person you meet, and this is another thing. I'm glad y'all you brought this up. Every person you meet, you don't have to. Y'all ain't gotta be a couple. That person can be a proxy for the next person to meet.
Bingo.
You know,
Bingo.
right? And people are like, well, I'm an introvert. Well, yeah, you are an introvert because you're telling yourself you're an introvert. Duh.
Mhm.
So you're not
Mhm.
gonna do the behaviors that, hey, how you doing? Oh yeah. I mean, God, how hard is it to be like, oh yeah, first time here? Oh yeah. Oh, well, what do you recommend to drink? Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, you from here? Oh, this. Oh, no, I'm from here. Oh, you from Buffalo? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's cool there. Oh, sorry about the football season. I mean, God.
I'm gonna tell you, following that, man. I went to game 4 in Cleveland
Uh,
with the Cleveland Guardians and the New York Yankees.
okay, okay,
I,
got you.
I stayed at the DoubleTree, which is about a 10-minute walk from the stadium. Man, I got to the stadium. I walked into the stadium. I saw about 400 or 500 Yankee fans. There was a guy there from New York that was interviewing explicitly Yankee fans. I could have hung out with those people all night. Didn't know them.
See, there you go. So that's before this little football club I joined in. I kind of used to do that, and you just gave me an idea to do because I had to travel multiple times to go back and see my mother, so I was kind of traveled out, right? But I haven't been in the air like 3 or 4 months, so I'm thinking about that. But it's exactly what you're saying. Now let's be honest. A woman is gonna say, she needs some security or things like that. She has to be assured. And I get that. Traveling is different, a little bit different from women than men. But I'm like, don't go to hostile areas, you know?
Yeah.
Don't come down here.
Honestly.
Don't come down here and go to Liberty City.
Yeah. Because
No.
honest, the best, I'll tell women this, even if you're not into sports like that, find somebody,
Bruh, hold on.
find a group. Yeah.
Hold on. Everybody likes music, right? There's a form of
Yes.
music. Go to a concert. The person don't come to your town, especially if you live in the East Coast. All them cities are all close together anyway. I'm being facetious. You know, I'm just saying Philly, New York, New
No,
Jersey,
you're dead serious. And I'm gonna touch on something else. And I talked about this, and I have to get back into this. Go take dance lessons, salsa, classic waltz, and go to those functions.
right,
If
dude.
you're
I
if
did
you're
exactly that same thing or whatever, you know. So you're spitting it. I'm glad we're talking this because they always love to say, oh, y'all just complain. You don't talk about solutions. The last 15 minutes, we've been talking about, hey, here's what you can do. Here are the events you can go to. Use Facebook. Facebook has something called events. You can type in your area. You click on the left side. It says events. There was an art festival last week. I'm not at all into art, but I saw some friends of mine that I knew, their pictures. There's food festivals. Go to a food truck. I mean, I know it's cold in most places, but I'm just saying food truck gatherings. I mean, we go to for where it's cold. Go to ice sculpture things, you know,
oh,
and people
woo.
claim, you know. I'll say this: when you do those things, you've already done the hard work in narrowing down the people. You know, it's more different than a club or whatever, right? You know, because this person I can easily start a conversation with. You know,
First of all, the club, you can't hear shit. You
Yeah.
can't hear stuff, whatever. So that's always been a horrible idea, unless you already knew that person. But
not only
go,
that, bruh. Not only I'm glad you said exactly that. They don't even dance nowadays in clubs. You know, I mean, no, real talk. And they it's well, I'm sorry, they do dance. They do this thing called twerking you might have heard of, and they touch each other's asses. My bad. So
oh, they do the Park High Strut, the Baltimore thing.
but I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you bring that up. I mean, go to a place where they do that cha cha now. Yeah, bring it back now, y'all. Crisscross, everybody clap your hands. You know, I mean, I don't want to ever hear dude, fellas, yesterday I had to meet somebody for some drinks, whatever. Then somebody said, hey, come to my birthday party. And it was like bottomless mimosas, $50. And I'm like, usually when they do that, they gonna water down the mimosas. Let me go here where, you know, because I'll see them. But the point is that they found something to do. Brunches is another place. I mean, I don't want to hear no excuses about there's no places to go where you can't meet people. It's just a matter of, are you gonna come out? You know what I'm saying?
Beer festivals. I know Buffalo in the summertime every year hosts an event called the Taste of Buffalo. Thousands upon thousands of people are there. I mean, and I've said fundraisers a million times. There's sports fundraisers. There's cancer fundraisers. I mean, they're all over the place for it. So for a woman to say that she can't meet somebody like you're saying, Sir Tice, she hasn't put in the footwork. She hasn't done the hard work because once you get there, you the screening process has already been done because you know ain't no scofflaws coming in. You know ain't no people engaged in nefarious activities are going to. You gonna get as close to the cream of the crop as you can potentially get, especially when you're dealing with political fundraisers. Then there's your academic fundraisers. Um, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, I couldn't be a woman and actively searching for a date and not find one. I'm sorry, I just don't know how they do it. Like you said,
No,
I understand the security aspect, but that's something that's easy to overcome.
That
You
was
just said a mouthful right there because some people will say, I hear all the criticisms. Well, they don't want to be around alcohol or things like that. Okay, go to a fundraiser. Like you just said, there's so there's so many things, man. I think hell, like okay, like the reason I didn't go tonight was because I'm like, you know what? I've had drinks since Thursday, so let me chill. Let me, let me just chill out and wait till next week. But I'll go to this VFW, right?
Right.
I've never served in veteran, but man, talking to these old cats and there's a couple women that come there who get it. Man, you get good conversation. Then the women who come, they want to hear these vet stories, or it's just people talking shit at times, also too.
Yeah.
And it's not, then sometimes we play dominoes or bid whist, and it's like, damn, I'm not always up living it up. Sometimes I slum. But no, I'm just making a point. There's always something. In fact, I need to be more of a homebody my damn self because I'm always finding something. So when I hear these complaints or online or there's no good people out there, oh get get out of here. Maybe it's because you're not the good person you think you are.
Well, yeah, I know that some these women they have to have a little posse with them. They don't feel comfortable stepping out by themselves to events, and I think that's a issue in themselves. When
Well,
their
men,
friends have somebody and they're the single one, they may not be willing to step out like that.
I think
They
that I think there's something to what this person is saying, and that says Facebook user. But the thing I was going to ask,
Sawanda. I'm sorry. So her name is Sawanda.
oh, it's her. Anyway,
He's accustomed to her in the counselor's corner.
some people give that so-called rest and B word look that they make themselves so completely unapproachable. It's unreal. Versus, I mean, I will say this. I do think that people should learn to read a little bit more body language or whatever, but guys know that if a woman is somewhat interested in them, whatever, right? Or it does to me, it doesn't even have to always be an interest. It could just be someone, like I said, every person you talk to doesn't have to be that person. They can be the proxy to the person. You know what I'm saying?
But this is the thing that a lot of women have failed to realize. The landscape of dating has changed. And who's primarily responsible for that?
They are.
Women. So now that the dating landscape has changed, the Me Too is out there, the no cat calling, the all of this, you have to make the initial approach.
Well, I don't disagree where you going with that, brother, but let's get into this Rom Wills thing for a second or whatever, right? I'll call it the Rom Wills thing. How do I best say this? I'm going to refrain from responding, especially with someone who's never met. I'm assuming she says met me. All right. So that said, how do I say this? I think that women will never publicly admit this, but they will. Most women won't. But there's dudes who how do I say? I've said this to you guys before. There's dudes who they look for strictly for smashing material. Then there's
Mr.
dudes who they
Goodbar.
consider right, exactly, for boyfriend type material or Mister. And then there's the guys who they would go out on a date, right? But it's variances between all. But those are your three, right?
Hmm.
Now, if you don't fit that other aspect, you're kind of out of luck, to be honest with you. I would never recommend a guy to be a chick's friend zone person by any stretch of the imagination. Not, I would never. I don't care how good her friends are, because she's not going to give you a good report to those friends. But that said, I think nowadays, again, I think because our social skills aren't as developed as they once were, we make the simple things a little bit harder. I'll just say it that way.
Hmm.
You know, Whereas I know dudes who are barely literate who clean up more than me. And I'm not Mr. Ladies Man by any stretch. I never said I was, but I'm like, what is it? I mean, they tell corny jokes. They're not even sometimes in the best of shape, but they got a good personality and they know how
Yeah.
to vibe. They know how to
Yep.
tell these silly
Yep.
jokes or be
Yep.
silly, be playful, and they know, and more importantly, they know how to read their targets. So they know that, so as I said, it's the women, like, ask yourself and be honest with you, are you giving off good vibes? If you're not giving off good vibes, or if you're giving off especially stank vibes, who the hell wants that?
Yeah, and I hate to, man, gosh, I don't want to say it in this particular manner, but I mean, I'm kind of compelled to. A lot of black women don't realize that the way they conduct and carry themselves, your reputation precedes you. So even if a man was reading your cues and vibes correctly, he still has to deal with the fact that you just gonna shoot him down just because you want to,
Yeah.
not because he approached wrong, but just because you don't like him. And there's nothing wrong with that per se. It's just like they call it, it's the nuclear no. It's like, you know what? I'm sorry, honey. I'm just not interested. No, get away from me.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I will say though that as you get older, you need to, people need to go to places where they're more comfortable in, where they somewhat
Mm-hmm.
fit in. I went to this cigar bar that I normally go to on Friday, right? And I had no idea that there was this thing called black smoke that was going on, right? And I'm like, what the hell? There's all these people, it was kind of exciting. I like being in places like this where, it's a good little crowd and all this, because I can now do my little people watching thing also too,
Yeah. Yeah.
and try to build up, things. And man, I didn't see any of the skank things, it was mostly men, but it was like about 60-40 racial men. And again, I'm not trying to keep overselling cigar bars, because I can understand why a woman would not want to go into these spots, hair and things like that, right? You know, um, but I get what I trust me, I'm not saying that you don't have a point. I will also say that there's a lot of man child dudes out here,
Yeah.
I'll be the first to say that. So, but to me, for even just your average upstanding over 35-year-old guy, that would make you stand out even more.
Right. And
You
and I think I was gonna say I think that's what a lot of guys don't understand. And that's what I was talking about earlier with David and myself is having a crew is not a bad thing, but even in that crew, there's something about you that should always stand out. You don't want to have a crew and then just blend it in. You might wear your hat differently. You might wear an ascot. You might wear this. You might wear that. There's always going to be something about, there should always be something about you as an individual that stands out. That's an identifying marker.
Ex- exactly. Are you into guns or no?
Not yet. I have to call me. I have to call the Niagara County and see what's holding up my pistol permit. But I'm on my way there.
Okay, no, and I forget you live in New York, so it's all messed up there. But no, the reason I was just bringing this up is that we went to this gun range, right? That was about 2 hours away. It was outdoors. And I'd never been to an outdoor range,
Oh,
and yeah, it was actually pretty cool. And then we went. One of the guys had stopped in, picked this restaurant that was there, and it was pretty good. And some people came up to us. But the point I'm saying is that I took a bunch of pictures. I went out later. Man, I had stuff to just talk about, just showing the pictures and things like that. And this
yeah.
is what and this ties back into what I'm saying about go out and do interesting things.
Mhm.
Um, how many people listen? I get it. When you have a family and you have kids, you don't have that time,
Right.
but that's when you make the time. I mean, by the time the kids get to be teenagers, they can take care of themselves, and again, I just want people to maximize because we only have one time on this earth, and people can't use I find myself when I was younger, barely making $20,000. How I was paying, how I had my own apartment, I have no idea. But I was still able to go out, you know. I somehow managed.
And to that, this is, and I mentioned this last week about the Super Bowl. Women have the ultimate paint. They have the ultimate mosaic in front of them. What they have to be willing to do is use that mosaic. You're a single woman with kids, throw a party. Find some men who will attend that party. Even if you have to, like you said, sometimes promote it on Facebook. We're having a party, a single parents party. Bring your kids. We're gonna have games, board games. We're gonna have drinks. We're gonna have this. We're gonna have that. Show off your culinary expertise. You got a dish you've been wanting to try out. Put it out there.
You're reminding me of something. I got a friend who has this big. Well, forget that for right now. But I was gonna say he has this boat or whatever. But even when I lived in Minnesota, one of my friends, and this was brilliant. What we used to do. This is in the summer before football season. Man,
Mhm.
every Sunday we put the text out. Hey, we'll bring the meat and the barbecue grill. Ladies, y'all bring the cards or drinks. If somebody bring this, somebody bring a side or whatever, and all this. Man, people were waiting for that. It's like we don't always have to go to a club. We can do it ourselves, and we'll pick a different park.
Bingo.
And we pick a different park every week. And
Yep.
so the $100 we spend on the meat or whatever, which was nothing back then, because we're gonna spend that money at a club anyway, or
Right.
a place drinking. Now you got people bringing bottles, and the best part about this is back when Minnesota was a dry Sunday, so you could only get your
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's how we were really coming up. So, but I'm saying you're right. I mean, I hope I'm giving people ideas for things to do in the summer. It ain't always got to be out. You got to
A
go out.
neighborhood park.
You know,
Neighbor.
Those the
Just
best
about it.
gatherings anyway. Whatever, when you have those intimate stuff instead of being out with random people. If you can just get people that's kind of connected, you have a good time, and it allows you to connect with people.
I'll
you,
tell
you
you.
know.
I'll tell you what. In addition to that, when was the last time many of us played croquet?
I've never played croquet.
Croquet. What's the other game right now? I can't recall. With the bean bags.
The beanbag toss,
Yeah. Uh,
things like that, and horseshoes. I think you're getting at
yeah. Cornhole. That's what it is. Cornhole.
cornhole. You're right. Yeah, that's actually on ESPN too.
Yes. I mean, just the sheer amount of things that can be done to generate interest in an event held at a local park. You never know who's going to show up.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, a bottle of Tito's, that's $25, $30. Your steaks. No, I'm saying. Somebody brings the Heinekens or whatever people drinks on the beer. Somebody bring the wine coolers for the ladies. Somebody bring the
Yeah.
non-alcoholic things for the people who don't drink. Somebody go to Sam's Club or BJ's, whatever you got near you, to get the cups. And that way, the person who has a truck, they keep that stuff. I mean, there's a million different ways you can do this. Um, there's a darn it. Not it wasn't baseball. It wasn't football. Oh, boxing, which is my favorite all-time sport. It's not like it used to be, obviously, but back then I would always buy everybody knew I was the guy who was having the fights. So guess what I would do? Hey, just come through, bring me $10 or whatever. That would defray
Yeah.
the cost. Boom, I'd make something. The women know that I got all the fellas coming here. I got 20, 25 people in my place.
Right. Because it's funny you said that. I'm looking into doing something in my backyard as a promotion or as a way to fundraise for the mentoring program that I was a part of. And I was looking to do film noir night, essentially old school films with an oversized screen, projectors, about 20, 30 people in the backyard.
You're reading my mind. I was gonna say you should look into get one of those blow up projectors, and you already
Yeah,
do it. Yeah,
yep. Because I already have the seats, and I mean, just it, for me, it's to say this type of stuff. For me, it's just simple. I mean, it's a two, three, 400, maybe let's just say it's $1,000 investment. You haven't invested $1,000 into your future in terms of enjoyment. In the summertime in the United States of America, it's almost impossible not to find some place that's sunny. Just imagine you start a cookout at about sundown.
so,
8:30, 9 o'clock rolls around, you got your group back there and you start running the films. You do it on a Saturday, you do it on a Friday night. Nobody has to go out drinking. Your place is where they come.
right.
Or you could do it in the park or wherever the space permits. And now people will have something to look forward to. You in the bars they used to call it First Fridays. You can do First Fridays and put your own spin on it.
It's funny you say that because that's a national thing. I say it's like, damn, you're actually giving me some ideas. You're actually giving me some. Oh, the reason I was talking about the whole gun thing was just because how many people I was just showing the pictures to, and it's like, oh, you really into this? I said I used to be into it, but because I'm left-handed, I used to stop because I got tired of working with right-handed things and making it work for me, right? To whereas now, 5 or 6 years later, they make things more ambidextrous now. So
Okay, I was going to say.
right, and and I got more disposable income to now actually invest in things, So
Yeah.
how many people have said, "Oh, when we're gonna go shooting? Oh, we'll go shooting, all right, or whatever." No, but I'm showing them, okay, here's the little things, or no, it's not scary at all, But hey, you got to get over this fear. Then I can move over to my politics and things. Hey, look at
Yeah.
did you ever see that? I know it's getting late and y'all want to close up, but did you ever see that Houston Taqueria shooting?
No, I haven't.
All right, long story short, you know what a taqueria is. This thing was a taco house. Some dude walks in and with a gun and is pointing it at people to give up their wallets. And he's walking around the room having people give up their wallet. And then this buffoon turns around and one of the dudes who gave up his wallet fills him with lead. Okay. Yeah. And they don't show the actual shooting of whatever, but they show him, when he draws his gun, fills him with lead. He's dead. And then now when I saw the video, I'm like, damn, well, another one for the good guys. But then I'm like, wait a minute. This was in Houston, Texas. You've got to be out of your friggin' to walk into a place in Texas. They all packing,
Yeah, they are.
You've got to be, and I asked people, and then people like, yeah, I get why I said, yeah, because you got a gun pulled on you, you feeling scared or whatever and all this, But I don't know. I'm just making a point in that little things can start conversations that kind of change people's perspectives and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. For people that don't understand why Sir Tyson and myself are laughing, Texas is an open carry state. So essentially what he's saying is you got to be out your goddamn mind to walk into a place and pull out a weapon where somebody else can also have a weapon.
Right. Open and closed carry. Yeah. And those people, and it's Texas. So they used to guns. See, people seeing people with guns is absolutely nothing.
Right.
Yeah. So
that was a dummy move. Clearly, he wasn't. He must not been from there.
Well, no. And then, of course, the best part is his mother was like, he needed to be in jail. Nice shot. Wait a minute. I thought y'all hated jails because when he was on the ground, the dude filled him up with more lead. But I get that. You're scared. So you don't, they tell you to stop shooting the target when the target stops moving.
Yeah.
I guess he did. Oh, and the best part, again, I'm not mocking a death per se, but I'm not apologize for it. It was a fake gun who tried to rob it with.
Yeah, that was the sad. That was the dumb part. I when I heard about that, I was just like, why?
Yeah.
Just
But
why?
tying this back into dating, I just think that, and listen, by the way, I know women express things about safety, and I get it. Some dudes play the chameleon, things like that. But I also think that the more you get out, the more you can tell. They're the ones who have the intuition. Start using that or develop it, because if you're not out, you're not going to develop those intuition
Right.
skills anymore.
Yep.
They're gonna retard. What was going on in the 1990s or the early 2000s is different
That's
than
the
now.
reference point. Yep. Mhm. Yep. Indeed.
Yeah. I came with a lot of different ideas, but it's legit that people have no excuses to make for why they're not meeting anybody, or when they say, where are the good men at, where
Listen,
everybody at. You got to be creative. You got to hang with creative individuals too. If you hang with the same crew and y'all doing the same shit at the local bar, then what do you expect?
not only that, you made a good point, but you make a good point because I'm somewhat guilty of that at the same time too, which is why I'll go to different places. But I'm just looking. I just turned to the NFL channel. You can go to tailgating without going to the game.
Woo! Boy, can you?
Yeah.
I mean, people. I'm sure people get more drunk. That's usually funner than the game.
Yeah,
And
true.
you know what? Something else to that, Sir Tice. One place that you are guaranteed to meet upwardly mobile people is on a college campus. Museums, concerts, plays, theater events.
I
I
forgot about
can't.
plays.
I because when I went to school at Buff State, right across the street was the Albert Knox Museum. Rockwell Hall had a used to host things there. I mean, it's something I talked about getting into is going to Broadway plays. So if you're close to a city that has off Broadway or off Broadway, don't be afraid to go there by yourself because everybody going there is going to see a play. You're not worried about no hooligans, no scofflaws. You know everybody is there for the play.
Like I said,
Uh,
you just minimize half your riffraff right there because I don't even go to plays like I used to growing up. But especially though you nailed it.
uh, Klein Hands is in Buffalo. Klein Hands is a concert venue.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you like classical music, go to a classic, go to a concert that's playing classical music. You have all these things, places that have live bands. You generally don't find hooligans at live bands,
Good point.
cover bands.
Herb,
I
Herb,
mean,
Herb,
uh,
Herb. And we from the same thing. How many, if you think about it, how many of these people really gonna do something by themselves?
I
How
just
many
want to
people
eliminate
gonna
the
step
excuses, though, man. You know me, I'm.
step out the box and do something by themselves? Whatever. They not cut like that. They not cut like
Yeah.
that.
But then they can't. Okay, and no, you're right. You nailed it. You hit it home. But then they can't complain either. I mean, they will complain. I know, but they can't complain. I know, man. Here, I'll move on because I'll just prolong it. You're right. So what? Hell, there's your topic for tomorrow. I no, but you got to state it in a way that makes it for interaction because everything is misogynist. You post, so according to them, you could be like Jesus saves, and that's misogyny.
That's something we could talk about next week, David. Women's reluctancy or fear of going out. And we could delve into the numbers behind that.
Hey, you know me. We can
You're gonna make me look at this all this week now. Like, oh,
but because we hear it often. But the thing we think about it. outside of the shooting in Las Vegas, I believe last year, or the year before, no, the year before. When was the last time we heard of a shooting at an outdoor concert venue?
Not only that, people love to. I even have a friend of mine who I won't get into that or whatever, but I'll just say a lot of people, because all they do is watch television,
Yeah,
things get over sensationalized. And I'm not talking about a mass murder is not no over sensationalizing. I'm not saying that, but they think they hear a shooting at a club. It happens at every club,
right.
even if it caters to a different demographic, Um, my thing, it's obviously it's rare. I think the safety is what you imagine in your head, and people just aren't groomed to go out alone anymore. And then also, let me say this: I do think that there's a valid argument in that back in the day, it wasn't ladylike for women to go out alone because it looked like that they didn't have a man in a
Yeah,
sense. Whereas a lot of that carried over to now, to whereas now they'll use the safety excuse, and then also I think a lot of them they're not the most social people. So this is why the more social people who are less attractive who get over on them. Again, it's so many things, man. I mean, we need to enjoy this freedom while we last, while it lasts.
yeah.
But then you'll have the people. Well, nah, I won't even say that because that'll prolong this conversation. I'm talking about the health concerns. Like, come on,
Uh,
we're past right. We're past that. Let
yeah,
let
yeah,
let's stop with
yeah,
that
yeah,
nonsense.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, they go out all the time. Good for you. Keep it up. Do different things. Food festivals. That's everybody likes food.
But see, and this is the problem that a lot of people have is that pronoun we. You know how difficult it is for we to meet a person? You don't take sand to the beach. So if you're looking to attract somebody, the best way to attract somebody, and this is going to defy what the common belief is to go by yourself. It's much easier for a man to approach a single individual than it is to break into a group of women because women tend to be catty, and if they can't have fun, they're gonna stop you from
Nobody
having fun.
Nobody can have fun. I saw somebody this weekend, and she was like, "Yeah, I see you all the time with you have your iPad. You just be into your iPad at times." I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm not trying to holler at any of you guys." She's like, "What?" I open, but I know how to flip things, or whatever. I'm like, "No, you usually be with your girls or whatever." Like, so what am I gonna be typing? I was like, plus, hell, I got some bets to make and things like you know. And she's like, yeah. So then we just started talking and whatever. And it's like, wow, he's actually pretty cool. I said, well, look, I'll just see you next time. I didn't even make my approach because I see her in there. But once she left, her friends weren't there. She was more open. She was more open or inviting to talk to. Plus, her friends aren't the most attractive, to be honest with you.
easy come, easy go. Another duck.
uh,
Listen,
uh.
fellas, we gonna get ready to slide out of here. But it's a lot of ideas been thrown out there, and for me, what I think about is people having their own personal happy hours. I think that would be big. If you got coworkers and stuff like that, and people hosted it, and you have your own, everybody has their own separate friends, and people can come from multiple different facilities or places and connect. There you have it. And
You have certain places where I can understand some people may not want people in their home or their home may not be ready. So I get that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
But you have certain places. I mean, well, you have to figure them out or whatever. But there are certain places, if it's an expense thing, you can bring your own thing, or you just go here. The easiest way to do this: go to a place that doesn't have any business. To say,
Honestly,
hey,
Yeah,
we're gonna bring about 10 people in here. What can y'all do for us? Give us a little happy hour special because y'all not doing shit right now. You know,
that's
and
true.
you'd be shocked at how that works. Again, I'm just saying, again, that's more for people, like you said, just doing things themselves. Trying those little things because guess what? If our grandparents could do this, why the hell are we so like
yeah,
socially handicapped? I mean, they married for years or whatever, and they didn't have a cell phone, a cordless phone, a touch dial phone. They had the rotaries, for first. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And they
Mhm.
were able to go out, figure out what the word was around town, where to meet, what time to meet, no GPS. And you telling me we can't figure these things out? Come on. It's an insult
yeah,
to
man.
us.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let
that
y'all
is true.
go, man.
Yeah, we about to slide out here, but we definitely appreciate your
Yeah,
feedback,
man.
Sir
Yes,
Tice.
sir.
Always, you bring different insight for us to even think moving forward with some actual live events, like how do we make this happen? Because it shouldn't be this difficult. But the key thing is less stress, no violence, and good people enjoying each other that come
Well,
together.
right. Everybody knows somebody, so obviously you're not gonna invite people or the person has to be vouched for, for the safety concerns,
Right.
but
Mm.
hell, a movie night at the damn house. Everybody's got these damn streaming apps where you can pull up something. Although, let me be clear, I don't really like movie night. I mean, this is no disrespect to you, Herb. The
No,
movie
I dig it.
Well, that's
the
no
movie
conversation.
Right. The only problem with movie night, like I've always thought that movies were the most horrible dates to go on because you got 2 hours of not saying nothing to this person. Now the flip side is that you'll have something to talk to afterwards. I get it, but not for when you're, to me, not for when you're meeting somebody for the first time.
Well, the one thing that I was going to add to that was I was thinking about doing the films in different languages. That, in and of itself, can also be a learning tool. If you're learning to speak a different language, you can bring these people together and say, hey, look, we're going to do a French film tonight.
Well, damn, you're doing
So,
this. You're really doing it with some people who have some patience. Who I ain't reading all them damn
See,
subtitles.
but the thing about it, well, yes, the subtitles, yes, but if we're bringing people together who want to learn to speak French, then the first
Oh,
thing you have to do
that's
is to have, because I do that. I'm at work and sometimes I watch a turn of classic movies and they'll run a French film. And I'm
oh
sitting there reading it and I'm listening to it because with French is kind of tricky because you have to listen to the allusions to actually understand some of the phrases.
yeah. There's a nasal sound in French that
Yeah,
stuff doesn't
yeah.
translate. No. So
But
you're right. You're going even. I'm just saying. Let's even get to the basics. We got. I mean, man, we just. Hey, so everybody bring a bottle or everybody
yeah,
bring a plate. You're not a plate.
yeah,
Bring a
yeah.
dish. I meant.
See,
yeah,
I think with Herb, if you had something like that, you have to have multiple stations. Like a big spot, whatever. Like you showing a movie here, then you have other people just want to dance, and you got people want to play
you can do
cards
that
and all
all.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it just can't be relegated to a movie night. That has to be off to another area or somewhere. That's just my
Another
thought.
another idea, people who live in those kind of complexes have party rooms. One of the things that I was going to do with one of my homies, he has a party room, and I said, you know what, forget renting a club, let's use your party room and let's invite people over to watch the playoffs. The only problem was the first week of the playoffs I had to travel out of town, and then by then he was out, but the point I'm making that, these, like I said, how these complexes will have a party room that you can rent, or not rent, or you can
yeah,
use. you know I'm not saying women don't go out all the time. What we're saying is that for people to do it more. I'm not saying
right.
that you're saying, I'm not saying that you're saying that I was saying it that way. I'm just saying people can do it more because you increase your opportunities of meeting people by just going out and doing active things. I i would love for social media to be what it's really for, not what it's been turned to into this let's promote negative comments to each other, because that's what they do with these algorithms. But people show off what they've done or the weekend. It's like, oh man, you were doing that. Yeah, I'd love to come to the next one. Let me know. Whatever. Boom, they'll shoot you the invite. It becomes more of a portal of information and not a damn propaganda tool that it's become.
Also, something else, and I'm gonna put this out there, just into the atmosphere. If somebody is looking to do something out of the ordinary, do a play. Write the play, have some people come up and act in the play. And a play, this could be a really short play, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. And cut your teeth on acting. You get to do a couple things. You get to practice speaking in
Improv.
front of people, improv, yeah, all of that. Charades, what we used to play back in the days. And I'm actually developing a game based along that. I'll kind of keep that close to the chest because I understand that it's like you said, Sir Tice, the more technology becomes ingrained in our culture, the less skilled we become at conversation.
I'm gonna end on this note because I do want to get this fact out of here. All right, so I'm trying to learn a little bit more about sales right now. One of the things also you can meet people at is Toastmasters, by the way. And
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, but I'm trying to learn a little bit more about sales. And I said I'm gonna get back into this because this is where a lot of the here, I don't want to say when I say real money, I'm talking in the half a millions type of thing, whatever, right? So how do I say this succinctly? Think of it like this. When we think of sales, we think of the annoying, pushy people, whatever, right? But those are the annoying, pushy people. This goes back into what you said about acting. Think about this. It's a different type of sale when the kid is trying to sell you candy bars for their football, baseball, basketball, gymnastics team, right? That's a one and done sale. You feel me? It's
Mm-hmm.
a different kind of sale when you go into a store and they're trying to fit you for clothes. That's almost a one and done sale. Although if they do a good job, they may kind of remember your size. Now, let's look at the sale for a $5 million software system where this is the reason why they're taking you to those football, basketball, baseball games or whatever, while they're taking you to dinner and all this, while they're remembering your birthday and sending something to you because they recognize it's about the relationship. And people want to do business with people that they like. You
Yep.
see what I'm getting at with this or whatever. So whereas you learn these things, these skills also apply to good or to real life. All the salesmen as I know, they have been very good, men and women, they have been very good with the opposite sex. Extremely well. But think about it. What is it? They got to go out and meet, face objections. No, hell, they got it in their head. They know objective handling. They know body language. These are things that I think that people can develop.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of that, and again, I just want to end on this, is we have to learn to get out of our comfort zone. This includes even me. I said I was going to read something tonight. I ended up just sitting on my couch, and then I saw you guys online, and I said, let me come up. But I'm gonna probably read a little after I do this, whatever. But y'all have a good night, fellas.
All right, man. We appreciate you dropping by, man.
Thanks, brother. So a lot came through, a lot of different ideas, and it's real. These ideas, sometimes those connections mean the most.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I don't know if it was last week, the other week, I said I give a shout out to my sister and my cousin Deshara for bringing our family and using their household to bring people together, because those are the safest places, to be honest.
Yeah.
When you can bring people together that you know, but you might not know everybody, and you have the ability to move around in different spots and congregate with different people, connections are being formed without any violence. And that's the key, because we're dealing with a whole different animal with this younger generation
Yeah.
that all they know is to shoot and kill.
Yep.
And You somebody that, and I never want to wish bad. I'll use myself for example. Come up there, go somewhere, and they be like, "Damn, David got shot," and people like, "What? Where was he at?" And for no reason, senseless type of thing. So as you get older, you have to choose wiser environments that you hang out with,
Hmm.
and sometimes you have to be creative with them environments. It could be the same environments, but you could say we're going to do this time, or we're going to do this time, and it allows for more people that you could bring into your circle, but you know they're non-threatening individuals, and you have fun,
Yeah.
and you never know what happens. All that bar club scene and all that stuff, I'm pretty much over that.
Yeah.
I'm over that.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say. I don't. I get tired of saying, "What did you say? What did you say?" Um, or I can't hear you and all that stuff. That's not been there, done that.
Yeah.
So you have to start thinking about that. Uh, just having good times and realizing time ain't ain't forever,
Yeah.
and have those memories and building and bringing good people together, and you'll be surprised. Shit, couples could end up whatever, and that might not be your initial thing. Like, okay, but it's just because everybody's feeling loose, they comfortable, they having a good time, and that's the direction we need to go to. Like just having good fun filled events.
Hmm.
If you can't do that, then I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be nowhere that I like real literally have to say, damn, I might have to fight tonight. Or if you go in there with a young lady like, yo, I might have to fight.
Right.
That's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So in order to so it takes good, strong party plan. You don't want to put it on one individual. It takes committees. We have to always have committees to be formed to make things work. And you'll be surprised how dynamics could change.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm gonna let you get your closing comment, her. Then we're gonna get out of here. But this was definitely a productive conversation. It'd have been nice to have some women coming here, but I understand everybody have certain things they going on, and we never hold anything against anybody for not being here because it's an open forum. They can make it. They can make it. If not, we'll hold it down.
Yeah, like David said, we are a solutions oriented platform. We talk about problems, but we also provide solutions, and the solutions we provide, they're not out of reach of the average, ordinary, everyday working class person. Heck, even some of the people who aren't well to do can implement some of the things that we put forth, that especially with Sir Tice coming up here and adding to this. I'm gonna call it the mosaic because I think that's what it is. Because we paint, we are here for you. We enjoy doing this, but ultimately we're here to help you, to be a better person, to broaden your horizons, to come out of that turtle shell, to be uncomfortable so you can get comfortable. That's our goal. Ultimately, that's what we're here for. And as always, with an understanding occurs in the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time.
And for me, it was a lot said. When you think about delusion, and stubbornness, and then even for the other part, how does no contact rule? You have to deal with yourself. You have to deal with your comfort, comfort, comfort level on any situation. So whether you say women are delusional, men are stubborn, you have to look at the reasons why you're being stubborn and say, "Damn, do I want to make a change, or do I want to be at this impasse?" And when you say you want to make a change, you look at certain areas that you know it's a deficit and you try to do something different. Whether it's, I'm going to make sure that I speak to somebody every day. or I'm gonna smile, or do something different, do something out of the ordinary. And once you start doing that on a regular basis, it becomes a part of you. Until we start changing up the way we do things, again, we'll keep getting the same results. So when we look at dating once, you got to look internally at yourself and say, what do I really want? What have I done to change to get to that desired goal? And unless you're doing something different, you're going to be in the same situation. So just think about that. Let that marinate. You're going to be in the same situation. So as many ideas that was thrown out tonight are doing different things, say for yourself, yeah, I want to do something different. I want to try this out. In fact, I heard something in the counselor's corner. We gonna put this together and make it happen. And invite always always keep in mind, invite good people, like-minded people like you, and I can guarantee you that it'll be a memory builder. And you'll look for the opportunity to say, I can't wait to the next time. Can't wait to the next time. And that's what drive people when you have hope to be able to wait to the next time a good event goes down. But that was enough. A lot of different things thrown out there. Again, people, please like and share the video. And also keep in mind, join the panel. Do what you got to do. Join the counselor's corner. Please subscribe to the counselor's controversial counselor YouTube channel. Keep building, keep growing. This is our platform. This is our time. It's a lot of things we could do out here now, especially if you form a good nucleus of people. Let's keep shining. Let's keep rising, and let's keep it stress free and violence free. With that said, we out. See you next time, and we'll chop it up in the counselor's corner all throughout the week. All right, good people. Appreciate everybody who was in the chat and who joined the panel. We out. See you next time.
All
Peace.
right.